You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil.
What the hell is that? Come on,
You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. Appreciate y'all coming out again. Thank you for tuning in once more. Hit that like button for me, guys. Got another conversation for you. You know, it's difficult to bring up new and interesting topics every day because I don't want to just get caught up in the same old thing. So I got to keep trying to find new ways to be entertaining and informative and all that good stuff. And so I think I got something else for you guys today. You're gonna like this one here. It's I think Red Illusion pretty much captured it best with this comment. But I thought we both hated Whitey. You know, Black folk have discovered that perhaps there are other racisms that are a little bit sharper, a little bit colder. What if the Mexican man's racism is colder than the white man's? What if the white man's racism is not the coldest? What if the white man's racism is technically the warmest and fuzziest and coziest racism there is? What if we've been wrong about racism this whole time? I came across a lot of videos where You got a lot of black people. And shout out to TikTok. You know, I've been exploring the TikTok world a lot more lately, as you can tell. And I've been noticing a lot of black people, especially starting around Jasmine Crockett's election or failure to get elected. Rather, she was trying to run for the Senate, and she lost her primary to James Tallarico, a white guy. And a lot of black people basically said, I'm not going to vote for Tallarico. Let the Hispanic community come and save you. You guys didn't want a black woman? Well, fine. And I'm staying out of it now. They said we're pissed off because of the black community. They really upset with Jasmine Crockett and how the Latino community didn't show up for Jasmine. And let me just give you some examples, you know, because there's been beef. There has been beef brewing between the Latino community and Jasmine
No.
Crockett.
What do you mean? Jasmine not going to Congress for Texas? Oh, Crockett. A girl can only dream. Listen, Jasmine, what was that one quote that you said? Let me think. Oh, yeah. We done picking cotton. You can't pay us enough to go find a plantation. Yeah, you remember that. I remember that. How could I forget? See, 6.5 million Hispanic voters in Texas, which is like the majority of the electoral vote here in the state. And you mean to tell me that you think that we're still picking cotton? Hell no, girl. Hell no. That's why you lost. You're fucking racist. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. If you would have pitched that in 2002, 2001, you probably could have gotten like a good drift. However, that was people in the past. Those kids that I grew up with that were chasing a field every summer, every spring with their parents, moving school to school because they had to go pick fruit with their parents, are now grown up. And guess what? Do you think that they're going to go back to picking fields when they have a citizenship? No. As a matter of fact, they're not even looking to vote for blue people with blue policies that put their parents in fields. Fuck no. Some of them are real estate investors, business owners. They're passing down generational wealth. And you think that they're picking cotton. You out of your goddamn mind. I'm going to remind you real quick. The majority of the Latino.
I think one thing that really bothers a lot of the black leftist voting base right now is that not every other non-white leftist voter agrees with them. They don't believe in them. And especially when it comes to, like, you know, black women leadership and Jasmine Crockett and all that, they're feeling really left out and exposed. And what a lot of black people, broadly speaking, are about to find out is that although you supported these people coming in here and sharing in your American dream, because ostensibly they supported your grievance against white people and white culture or whatever, you know, more of us against them, that kind of thing. And now you're about to find out that they really didn't care about your problems the way you care about your problems. They have their own problems and their own interests, and their goals are going to come before your goals the minute they get the chance to actually exercise that opportunity.
Voters for Trump here in Texas live in the southern border. You know what happened in the southern border? No. Why? Because neither you nor Kamala have the balls to go down there. I'm going to tell you what happened. Along the Texas border, poverty levels are sky high as it is. When you import a bunch of riffraff from third world countries and they end up in those southern border towns, they strain the resources for those people. Those people can't even survive. And then you're bringing in all this fucking riffraff with a CBP1 app, Ticketmaster, to the United States, and you leave them there. That's why our governor had to ship all those fucking people out. And then y'all complain, oh, you were shipping on. Yeah, because you guys brought them here. You blue people brought them here to Texas, and the southern towns were suffering. Not only that, but there was violence across the border in Tamaulipas, in Reynosa, all those cartels fighting to bring all those people over here. Why? Because they were profiting billions of dollars. And your ass still thinks that we're picking cotton? Take that. No Congress for Jasmine. As a matter of fact, why don't you go run for Missouri? What did you do in Missouri that they don't want you to run for them? Oh, I know. Exactly. Because people in Missouri see right through your bullshit, and so do we in Texas. Keeping Texas red. Oh, no.
Black liberal liberals are coping and seething today over the fact that Latinos did not show up to vote for Jasmine Crockett. Check this out. Black Americans, can y'all now stop saying black and brown, please? The last 2 elections are clear indicators that black and brown solidarity is a myth. The gag is, black Republicans always knew that this black and brown coalition was a Democrat myth. And what do we get in return? We got called all kinds of slurs just because we were trying to tell y'all that every man is for himself. There's no unity besides the unity you have between you and your family. And the funny part about this is, it's a little too late for y'all to be realizing this. Y'all already voted to replace yourselves. You niggas are cooked. And when this country becomes a Hispanic Latino majority by 2050, it's definitely gonna be no black and brown unity then. You niggas are cooked. Congratulations. You voted yourselves out of existence. The deed is done. Black liberals are coping and seething.
Black liberal. The non-black liberal is the most divisive liberal of all, right? And the reason why I say that is because they expect us, the black community who holds the Democratic Party down, to just jump in line when we don't get the results that we want. They don't give us an opportunity to grieve. They just want us to jump in line, right? I'm going to post the stats by race on who voted for Jasmine and who voted for James up above. But what I also want to say is that you do not have the right to tell somebody how to feel. You cannot come to Black women and in Black spaces and tell us that we're being divisive when the entire election cycle, y'all were being divisive by saying that she wasn't electable. Well, what made her not electable, right? The same person that y'all say that's not electable is the same person after each committee hearing when Jasmine reads these incompetent Republicans in this current administration for filth, y'all reposting and talking about how she ate them up, right? This is the same person that y'all say isn't electable. Y'all praise her then, but you go in the booth and you vote for the white man because you felt like he was more electable. Under my comment, one of the girls said, the language is divisive, right? And I asked her, what is Tallarico's agenda for the Black community? And she basically stated that he doesn't really have an agenda for the Black community, but there are things that are a part of his community that will benefit the Black community. And then she went to say that he's a Christian and he can probably get some evangelicals. So Black women overwhelmingly vote Democratic in every election, and the white evangelical overwhelmingly votes Republican in every election. So what you're saying is that he is willing to neglect the most loyal voting base of the Democratic Party, which is the Black woman, for the potential of the white evangelical. And you think he doesn't have to earn our vote? No, he has to earn our vote. Now, on election day, I posted a video that said, if Jasmine doesn't win, I'm going to vote for Tallarico, right? And the reason I'm voting for him is because if I don't vote for him, I feel like I'm no different than the people in the uncommitted movement when Kamala was running, right? So before you so quick to jump in our comments and tell us how to feel and to tell us to get in line, just sit back, listen to how we feel before you jump to conclusions, because a lot of the women that look like me that live in the state of Texas are now at a point where they want to either opt out of the midterm in Texas completely or bypass the Senate, right? Which I think is a bad idea because we'll end up with the Republican candidate. But I'm going to vote for Tallarico, but also mind your business and quit trying to tell Black people how to feel.
And so it's cool. Jasmine gonna be straight. This is how politics works. You know, she won.
This is mostly my opinion, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but I changed my mind. A week ago, I did a video stating that if Texas fumbles Jasmine Crockett, they will regret it, and I still believe that. And after looking at the demographics of this race, 70% of YT folks voted for James, 93% of Black folks voted for Jasmine. The demographic that made the difference were Latin folks. 62% voted for James. That's what made the difference. But even that doesn't surprise me. Some, not all, but a good portion of Latin folks, especially the lighter skinned ones, have a thing about proximity to whiteness. And all they saw was a YT man of faith. And many of them feel like they are above Black people. And if you feel some kind of way about what I said, then maybe you need to look in the mirror, because you know I'm not lying. It's anti-Blackness all day long. That's why when you hear me talk about racism, I never lump Black and people of color together, because we don't have the same experience. A Latin person is not going to have the same experience that me as a Black woman has. That is literally at the bottom of the totem pole. It's okay for a Black woman to do the heavy lifting, to be there when people need support. But as soon as they want to step out and stand in front, out of the limelight, then here comes the anti-Blackness. She's not qualified. She's ghetto. She's not electable. And it's not just about Jasmine Crockett. It's about Stacey Abrams. It's about Kamala Harris. Black women have to be 10 times better than everybody else to excel in this country. And we are tired. Our folks are running around talking about Black women are being sore losers. No, we are tired and we are fed up. And we're tired of feeling like we're not being heard. And by the way, it was in poor taste for whoever is running James's campaign to send text messages asking for money the day after the election. Very poor taste. You haven't allowed folks to process the information. You haven't allowed them to grieve, because once again, an educated, qualified Black woman wasn't good enough, because she was villainized, talked down to, and made to feel like she wasn't good enough. From MAGA, from leftists, she got them on both sides, just like Kamala did, just like Stacey Abrams did. And Black women are tired. We're tired of toting the water and bringing it to you. And when it's time to drink, we don't get to have any. We're tired and we're fed up. We're fed up. So whatever Black women decide to do in Texas or not do, I support them 100%, because I understand. This is mostly my opinion, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but I changed my mind. A week ago, I did a video stating,
oh my goodness. So I'm sure many of us are well aware that Jasmine Crockett was running for a Senate seat in Texas. And unfortunately, she has lost the race, okay? She lost to a dude named James Tallarico. And to be honest with you, it's pretty crazy, because the only reason I know of this Tallarico dude is due to a Jubilee video that I saw him in. I was like, oh, this guy's, he's pretty solid. He's pretty quick with it. He's personable. All right. You know, kudos to him. Outside of that video, I had no idea who this guy was. Genuinely, no clue whatsoever. I'm curious as to why Jasmine Crockett didn't do a Jubilee video herself or something. So he wins. And of course, people are screaming, you know, Lucas, she lost because of race. That's why. And to that, I say, duh, it's America. Everything has to deal with race. I don't know. Why is that a big deal to you? Okay, it shouldn't be. Then there are people who are like, Lucas, she lost because of voter suppression. And to that, I say, duh, of course it has to deal with. Oh, my goodness. So I'm sure many of us are well aware that Jasmine.
My bad. That was the wrong video. But obviously, there is a lot of consternation over Jasmine Crockett losing and what that means about the shifting political winds and the political power structure of the Democrats going forward. And another issue is popping up alongside of that right now with Trump being elected and the rollback of DEI programs and policies. Record job losses for Black women, right? A lot of that's happening right now. And then on top of those two things, now we find out that maybe some of the reason it's hard to find a job, at least in certain areas, is that your brown allies aren't actually allies in the workplace when it comes to hiring Black people.
When it comes to the job market in LA or California, there's a huge discrimination issue going on with Black Americans. Employers are not willing to hire Black Americans, even if they are qualified. Even if they're overly qualified, they're still not willing to hire them. There's a hidden agenda at play here. And it's been going on for quite some time that organizations started to pick this up and investigate it. There's an organization in Los Angeles called the Los Angeles Black Worker Center, where they're currently investigating the discrimination that Black Americans are facing in the job industry in Los Angeles. But they're also providing resources and access to better wages and opportunities. We've seen an increase of employers only wanting to hire people from the Hispanic community, and there's nothing wrong with that because people have to work and provide for their family, but they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it with the intention to control, because when it comes to fighting for injustices and things, they feel like the Hispanic community.
How are you going to tell these Hispanic people that they're hiring other Latinos for all the wrong reasons? What does that even mean?
Nothing wrong with that because people have to work and provide for their family, but they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it with the intention to control, because when it comes to fighting for injustices or speaking up about certain things, they feel like the Hispanic community is not going to speak up because they're normally quiet. And like we know, when it comes to fighting for injustices or speaking up, Black Americans are always on the forefront fighting for change.
You basically said that the Latino working your Latino workforce is less problematic. They show up, they punch in, do the job, take a lunch break, finish the day, go home. You're basically telling on yourself, though. They are just way less problematic. That is unfortunate.
Americans are always the ones speaking up for everybody, fighting for change. But they feel like with the more Hispanics that they hire, it's easier to control them because some of the times they're undocumented, so they won't cause any problems. They can pay them less. They can mistreat them, disrespect them all they want. They're not going to cause any problems. And that's another issue at play. The other issue is that other people of color are not willing to speak up for Black Americans whatsoever. The only time they speak up to help Black Americans is when they see Black Americans have an advantage that they don't have.
You have no allies. This is something I was bringing up when I was just on the previous panel over on Cellulite's channel. But Black folk have been on this constant attack mode against white people, white America, white culture, and all these things. And that's part of the reason why politically a lot of Black folk have been kind of cajoled into supporting immigration, because the idea is that, you know, the Rainbow Coalition, right? The coalition against whom? Every coalition has a target, has a point for why they come together. And the coalition, the Rainbow Coalition, was all these colors against white. And now this coalition is starting to choke you to death. And it's a funny kind of coalition that actually winds up choking the founder to death. It's weird how that happens. I bet you didn't see that coming.
Take affirmative action, for example. When they believed that Black Americans were getting into Ivy League students based off affirmative action, when that really wasn't the case. The only time that other people of color speak up is when they see Black Americans have an advantage that they don't have. Otherwise, they are silent. It also seems like there's an issue to keep Black Americans at entry-level positions as well, and to bully them so they have a harder time moving up in the ranks. Platforms like Indeed and LinkedIn need to do a better job at regulating if these companies are really hiring or not. Because what these companies are doing are they're using LinkedIn and Indeed as a social media tool. They're posting that they're hiring and doing all these promo, paying for the promo, but it's really a marketing tool when they're really not hiring. It seems like LA or California is trying to push Black Americans out, and they're starting with the job industry. When it comes to the job market in LA or California, there's a huge discrimination.
I'm at this point in my job search where When it comes to the job market in LA or California, there is a huge discrimination issue going on with Black Americans. Employers are not willing to hire Black Americans, even if they are qualified. Even if they're overly qualified, they're still not willing to hire them. There is a hidden agenda at play here. We've seen an increase of employers only wanting to hire people from the Hispanic community, and there's nothing wrong with that because people have to work and provide for their family, but they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it with the intention to control, because when it comes to fighting for injustices or speaking up about certain things, they feel like the Hispanic community is not going to speak up because they're normally quiet.
That's a great point. Matt says, who runs LA? Democrats. Exactly. Your beloved Democrat Party that you thought was helping you fight racism, fascism, and all things evil white man is actually holding your head under the water while you drown under a wave of illegal immigration. This is exactly what's happening to you politically, culturally. You know, it's just inevitable. It's an inevitability that you will be forced out by these just never-ending waves of people. They don't even have to grow up, you know, spend 18 years becoming a full American citizen. They just get here, bam, I got everything you got. There's no way to compete with that in the long run.
Yeah, and then you have Hispanics they don't want to hire Black people. Let's just be real about that. There's over 170 class action lawsuits in California from Los Angeles to San Francisco, with over 30% of the offenders against Black people are Hispanics, just simply because they won't hire them. Now, this is them working at somebody else's establishment, practicing these discrimination practices, and then this is them with their own companies just refusing to hire Black people. You could just walk around Southern California, Los Angeles specifically, who's working the front office of these businesses. Go get a doctor appointment. Who's going to be in the front? Who's going to be the medical assistant? And it's not like Black Americans don't have these certificates or licenses. It's just simply that they won't hire them, right? And we could talk about the state jobs, the county jobs, the city jobs. It's just, you're just closed out of the market, period. And last time I checked, isn't a white supremacist mayor of Los Angeles? Isn't that a white supremacist? Oh, it's Karen Bass. Oh, she identifies as a Black lady. And you know what? She's never going to address this issue because she don't want to mess with her Latino Hispanic fan base, who she really advocate for.
When it comes to the job market in LA or California, there's...
If y'all paid attention to the way these non-Black and white leftists were speaking to Black people, specifically Black women during the 2024 election, then their defense of Zora Mandani's wife shouldn't be this shocking. These people have proven time and time again that they do not give a shit about anti-Blackness. They do not care about racism. Why? Because they themselves are anti-Black and racist. They refuse to unpack. They refuse to put in the work. They don't care. So stop trying to reason with them. Stop trying to educate them. They're MAGA adjacent. They literally just know Karl Marx. That's it. If y'all paid attention to the way these
They have a trend, I hear now. They're starting to call members of the Democrats blue MAGA. I don't know really why. I haven't really been able to nail down the shape of that idea yet, but they have a thing called blue MAGA. I guess it's anybody who's anti-Black and Democrat. I really don't know, but a lot of Black Democrats are getting butthurt about the way things are shaping up lately.
I live in America, but I can't get a job in a native English speaking country because that's the only language I was raised speaking. You notice before I moved to Dallas, I thought it was diverse. It's actually very Hispanic heavy out here. Cool, understood. And most of the jobs out here want you to be bilingual. Again, understood. But I didn't grow up bilingual. I'm Black. Never said I wasn't willing to learn Spanish. I just feel a little discriminated against because I can't get a job in a field that I'm pretty proficient in. I do my job well, but I don't.
You have to learn a foreign language to get a job in America. Remember when they told you as a Black person you had to work twice as hard to get half as much? They didn't tell you that you had to learn Spanish too. That was really what they were talking about. When they said you had to work twice as hard to get half as much as a Black person, what they meant was, ¿tú hablas español? No habla español? Lo siento, no. No trabajando. No trabajando. Trabajando. No trabajando por tu. You know, this is my little broken mutt Spanish, right? Because I'm not going to get caught up in the wave. I'm not going to have you plotting behind my back and I don't know any words, right? You're going to have to learn Spanish. As a black person, if you want to get ahead in America, you're going to have to start speaking Spanish. I don't make the rules. I'm just reading out the book. ¿Tú hablas español?
Speaks, but never said I wasn't willing to learn. And they don't even offer training. And I know a little bit to get me by, but in a native English-speaking country, I can't get a job because that's the only language I speak. Make it make sense. Again, understand, majority Hispanics here, but I would never move to another country and not indulge in their native language.
You got the problem all wrong. It's not their fault that they don't indulge in American culture. It's our fault for not forcing them to do what we want them to do. Because as the host country, it is your privilege and your prerogative to make people follow the rules. Only until Trump came along did you have this English as the official language. And it's not officially a law. It's like an executive order. It's like he just wrote a notepad on his presidential desk and now we have to follow a rule as long as he's in office, right? But the Democrats have been resisting that very thing. It's the Democrats who resist having English as an official language. The Democrats are the reason why when you go file for public service in any city, if you need welfare, if you need food stamps, any type of public assistance, they always ask you what languages you speak. They never assume that they're talking to an English-speaking American person, right? They always assume that you might be some foreigner. Why? Why are we giving all our free things to people who just got here and don't even really like us that much? That's the reality of it. That's what Democrats have been doing with your black vote. Look at you now.
Especially if I've been here for over 15 years. I'm going to speak both languages. My native tongue, I'm never going to forget that. I was raised off of English. Let's say Brazil. I'm going to learn Portuguese, and after 2 months, I should get by. A year in Brazil, I should be fluent. I would never forget English, and I understand sometimes when you don't practice your Spanish, you forget it. But come again, I can't get a job because I speak English.
Yeah. I don't know why you're shocked. That's how it is now. These is the rules now. No habla español? Oh.
Either that or you got to know somebody to know somebody. Even though I'm more qualified than the people y'all know.
You got to know somebody that know how to speak Spanish. That's what you got to know. You got to know somebody that habla some Espanol on your behalf because ain't nobody going to talk to your black ass in English about this job. That's a real, like, quiet filtering process, right? For a lot of reasons, not only for reasons of just ethnic nepotism, which is real. You know, ethnic nepotism is a thing. The Indians have, like, the worst reputation out of that, as I understand. You know, Latinos probably come in third or fourth or something. But I think the Indians really have the worst reputation as far as ethnic nepotism because they really are the people that you hear more about, like taking over, you know, a tech industry or something like that, like a really high-powered shit. So it's like they got the tech industries, the hotels, and the gas stations. Like you can't do nothing without bumping into them. You know what I mean? So like there is ethnic nepotism, but you didn't see that coming when you thought we are the world, did you? We are the children. Remember that? You remember that shit in the 80s? Remember back in the 80s when we were all in the recording booth together, all the different people, all the cool kids got in a booth together, and they were like, we are the world. We are the children. Remember that shit? Remember that shit? That shit sounds really gay now, doesn't it? That shit sounds really gay now, doesn't it? Because your whole childhood was fake and gay, and now you got to learn another language to get a job in the country you were born in. We are the world.
But come again? I can't get a job because I speak English. Either that or you got to know somebody to know somebody. even though I'm more qualified than the people y'all know and better at. That's why I'm getting out of fucking America. I live in America, but I.
By the way, she's such a genius. Her solution is to get out of America. I hope you understand. America is the last bastion of the free world. Out of America, things are just degrees worse, right? All the things that you hate about America, you're going to find even worse things out of America. The best thing you can do is move to a town far away from the border, because this is an area for wolves right now, and you're not a wolf, right? We got to start quoting Sicario on bitches. You got to move away from the border. This is wolf territory now, and you're not Benicio del Toro. You're not a heartbroken Colombian hitman who just thinks about murder every day. You're not going to make it. You don't even speak the language. You're not going to make it.
Can't get a job in a native English speaking country because that's the only language I was raised speaking. You notice before I moved to Dallas, I thought it was diverse. It's actually very Hispanic heavy out here. Cool, understood. And most of the jobs out here want you to be bilingual. Again, understood. But I didn't grow up bilingual. I'm Black. Never said I wasn't willing to learn Spanish. I just feel a little discriminated against because I can't get a job in a field that I'm pretty proficient in. I do my job well.
Yo, learning African language is crazy. Which, don't get me wrong, parts of the East Coast, you got African little enclaves popping up. Parts of New York and parts of Jersey, parts of Maryland. Entire little African village popping up. Little mud huts along the side of I-95. This shit's crazy. It's crazy. You're going to have to learn how to speak Urdu and what do they speak in Nigeria? Igbo. You're going to have to learn all the languages. I'm telling you, shit's wild right now.
But I don't speak. Never said I wasn't willing to learn. And they don't even offer training.
They got to make this one make sense, because the people that advocate for this, that say, yeah, it's okay, you got to be bilingual to get a job, be the same people advocating for these truck drivers, these non-English speaking truck drivers. Yeah, the test should be in every language, not just Spanish, every language. They should be able to take the test in. And they're behind 18-wheelers, right? Driving throughout this country, putting millions of American commuters' lives at risk if they're not proficient driving this vehicle versus an entry-level position. These are entry-level positions that Americans are being locked out of. Like, why are we even having this conversation when this country is a predominantly English-speaking country? You have thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans living in Mexico. You think Mexico is accommodating the English speakers out there, Americans? No, you got to learn the language. So why is this allowed, where you have a group of people that can move into the community, basically take over the community by locking people out of the job market? And there's another layer to this, because she says Spanish, she's speaking about Hispanics. They don't even hire Afro-Latinos. So
they was racist before they got here. That's the worst part about it. They didn't even learn their racism from the white man in America. They have their own homegrown Espanol racismo. Like, they got their own homegrown shit. They hated you before they got here. You understand how played you must look right now? You understand that? You've been up here doing, We Are the World and the Rainbow Coalition, inviting niggas to the cookout. You know how niggas love talking about this goddamn imaginary mythological Negro cookout and shit. Now look at this shit. They've been racist, and you just kept ignoring it because you wanted to get back at Whitey. Whitey was on the moon, and you wanted to get back at him for not taking you with him. Goddamn Whitey and his goddamn spaceships.
Not only them discriminating because of language, it's racism too. There's some racism going on, but there should be a class action lawsuit against places like this. Like, Texas, she said Texas.
I live in America, but I can't get a job in a native English speaking
As a Black woman in Arizona, I'm really happy that a lot of people are talking about the racism when it comes to jobs and how most of these jobs you really do have to be Hispanic. And a lot of people be thinking that racism doesn't involve in Black and brown communities. Yes, it does. There is a lot of racism that Black.
Who are you gonna learn today, ain't you? You thought racism was just the white man's hobby. That's one of the funniest things about this whole wave right now. Black folk are realizing that racism is not the white man's hobby. It is a global pastime. You thought the white man was like the master racism? No. You have to go to Asia. Like even the Latinos aren't as racist as the Asians, right? I think if you start to like racially, like if you start to rank like the depth of racism per region, like per territory or whatever, like Latin America, I think, like first of all, I think the most racist would be the Asians, I would argue, because like over in like China, Japan is just an ethno-nationalist country, right? So they'll put up signs. Even in Japan, I've seen signs with like a little monkey breakdancing in the middle of a train with like the circle and the bar going through it. Like no dancing, nigga. No monkey dancing on the train. You know what I mean? I haven't heard much about Koreans, but I expect no less from Korea. You know, they're just as bright as everybody else up there. And the Chinese too. The Chinese are. I had a video on my channel. It got banned eventually because you know YouTube be hating. But there was a bunch of black ball players who were getting off a bus in China, and the Chinese were lined up like a diplomatic greeting party. And as they got off the bus, they had to run the gauntlet of Chinese people yelling at nigga, nigga, nigga. I'm like, are they saying niga? Is that like a Chinese word? What's niga in Chinese? Like, what's Mandarin for niga? Like, what does that mean? Like, they were really about that shit. Like, there's a racial ranking. And all I'm saying is I think white people are like the softest landing you're going to get. That's my whole point. You got the Asians. You got the then you got the Indians. The Indians have a whole racial, social, religious caste system thing going on. Like you don't even want to try to crack that open. The darker you are as an Indian, the closer you are to the bottom of everything in life. Like I don't even think they let dark-skinned Indians into Indian heaven or whatever. Like, you know how, like, I think the Indians believe in reincarnation or whatever. Like, you either come back as a turd or dark-skinned Indian. Like, those are the levels of, like, separation in their culture. That's how low dark-skinned Indians are in their world. They literally call them the untouchables back in the day. Before Gandhi, I think, they had that concept, the untouchables, right? And it was a literal, practical term. Like, you were not allowed to touch them, because their role in the world was to handle like shit and stuff like that. And so then you got like South America. Obviously, you know, the Latin America has its own internalized racial system. It's a soft caste, you know, it's not a locked in, fully in place thing, but the wealthiest Latinos tend to be light skinned, the Castilian type and all that, you know, European blood and yada, yada, yada. And then even before you get to white people, fucking Africans hate you more than the white man does. Africans see no real kinship with your ass. All that shit is to sell trinkets and tourism money. Africans don't really care about your ass. They are Nigerian before they're Black American. And they will remind you of that if you get too close. That Africans don't really fuck with you like that. And so out of everybody in the world, I think your real, true ethnic friend in this country are the white people in this country. That's all I'm saying. If you really had to rank all the other people, everybody is flat out, you know, they got their own racist thing. The Africans are just race grifting you. The Africans are hitting you with the buddy hustle because I look like you and you look like me and shit. They like, oh, same. Like, nah, nigga. The only real allies you have in this country are the white people in this country. Hell, the racists in this country have more respect for you than most of these other ethnicities. Because the racists ain't really trying to take your shit from you. They just want to keep their shit to themselves. It's these other people that want to take your number 2 headband. It's always Afro Samurai. It's always Afro Samurai. It's never going to be anything but that. You have the number 2 headband, and in order to get to the number 1, they got to chop your shit off first, bro. That's how it is. That's why you have to learn a whole nother goddamn language to get a job as a
Black woman in Arizona. I'm really happy that a lot of people are talking about the racism when it comes to jobs, and how most of these jobs you really do have to be Hispanic. And a lot of people be thinking that racism doesn't involve in Black and brown communities. Yes, it does. There is a lot of racism that Black people face here in Arizona, especially Black women. Like, half of these jobs, y'all probably don't even know. Half of these jobs you can't even apply to if you're not even bilingual. As a Black woman in Arizona,
shout out to my man West with the 5 ball. Please like, share, and subscribe. Smash that super chat button for me, y'all.
I need that money.
My man West says, I remember when Black people laughed at white people complaining about press 2 for Spanish. And now we are mad at our own short sightings. Bruh. It's really that simple. You've been vain and short-sighted. You know that phrase, bite off your nose to spite your face? That's basically what Black people are dealing with right now, politically and socially. Jasmine Crockett losing to Talrico was like the ringing of a bell. That was a signal, like the changing of the guard has come. And now you just have to kind of accept where the the cookies were going to have to fall where they may. Wherever the cookie crumbles now, because in a lot of ways, Black culture, Black America is way too far behind the 8 ball to put up any real active, strong resistance. So all you can do is kind of like lock in, defend the territory that you got, and work on growing, where you are. Because right now, you're going to take a lot of losses on the front end. You're going to take a lot of losses on the front end for the foreseeable future. Because this wave of Latino immigration, and it's not just Latino, but that's the main part of it, it's going to overwhelm the whole country. And Black folk are going to be on the front line of that.
California racism is what people think Southern racism is. Do not let the progressive values fool you. Don't let right to abortion and all these other rights confuse you. And the crazy thing is, the racism is coming from non-white people. Like the racism that most Black Americans experience.
Look at that. The crazy thing. Black people are literally blindsided by non-white racism. Been hoodwinked, been bamboozled. You got caught with a non-white left hook. You expected all the punches to be coming from the white man. You thought that whip was going to have a white man's hand on it. Nope. Sometimes it's yellow. Sometimes it's a foreign shade of brown. It's like a poo shade of brown. Sometimes it's chorizo colored. Sometimes it look a little bit like chorizo. You never know. You thought it was going to be a white man's foot in that boot on your neck. Nope, it's not the white man's foot in that boot. It's a whole other nigga, a whole other type of foreign nigga. And look at you was unprepared.
I think Southern racism is. Do not let the progressive values fool you. Don't let right to abortion and all these other rights confuse you. And the crazy thing is, the racism is coming from non-white people. Like the racism that most Black Americans experience in California comes from non-white people. So you're people of color, if you will. And when I say people of color, I don't mean Black people. Black is Black and everybody else is people of color. I'll just give one example. So my cousin back in, I want to say 2014-ish, she applied for a job. At the time, she was living, I'm born and raised in San Diego. So at the time, my cousin was living in San Ysidro, which is real south, basically
like right by the border. It's the city just before you cross into Mexico. So she was living over there. She applied for a job in the Las Americas outlets, which is an outlet down there in San Ysidro. And she was told that she needed to speak Spanish, that she needed to be bilingual. So they wouldn't hire her because she only spoke English. But the crazy thing is, most companies like that, or most hiring managers or people that are in positions like that, that tell Black Americans in San Diego, California, that they cannot get a job because they don't speak Spanish, will gladly hire somebody that doesn't speak English, which doesn't make sense, because a lot of times I've had the firsthand experience myself. Like, I'll go into a business and nobody speaks English. They all speak Spanish. Now, mind you, like, I don't mind. Like, I'll start speaking whatever little Spanish that I know. But I think it is very discriminatory.
You know, I just realized I just got discriminatoried against. YouTube just discriminatoried me. I was just checking back inside the in the YouTube studio, and they demonetized this show. I haven't even been talking crazy. They don't want us to know about what's really going on. YouTube just demonetized the show. Do me a favor, y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Throw $1 in the hat. I got to do this one for the love now, y'all.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
Like that tell Black Americans in San Diego, California, that they cannot get a job because they don't speak Spanish, will gladly hire somebody that doesn't speak English, which doesn't make sense, because a lot of times I've had the firsthand experience myself. Like, I'll go into a business and nobody speaks English. They all speak Spanish. Now, mind you, like, I don't mind. Like, I'll start speaking whatever little Spanish that I know. But I think it is very discriminatory to be on U.S. soil and tell American citizens that they have to speak Spanish, but you
notice she making a video with the sound of her child playing in the back seat, right? Hasn't been to the beauty shop in God knows how long. Look at that hair. I can tell I can tell the hairline of a girl who doesn't go to the beauty shop. You know, she needs a job. She really does need a job, and you niggas won't let this woman work because she don't speak Spanish.
they'll gladly hire somebody who speaks no English. They'll speak somebody who speaks only Spanish. So that is discriminatory. And that happened back in 2014. It's something that has been happening long before 2014. And it's been happening. It's something that's been happening from San Diego.
Look, baby's in the back interrupting the video. She clearly needs the goddamn job. She will work. She will show up. She got people depending on her, and you niggas gonna make her learn a whole foreign language just to feed the baby in the back seat. It's wicked. Nasty work. Nasty work. Shout out to my man Jesse with the foul ball for noticing trends. Listen, they don't like it when you notice things. It's my bad. I didn't notice. I wasn't supposed to notice, y'all. Shout out to Jesse with the foul ball.
Take control. Take control of your city.
Got to take control of these cities, man. It's got to start calling ICE on these people. That's why I was blown away a little bit where Black people got mad at Black people because they work for ICE and immigration. Like, I'm on the front line helping you niggas. Black people that work for immigration are helping this woman to get a job. The help just ain't trickled down to her yet. We gotta deport more people.
LA and all the way up. But it's something that's been going on for a long time, and it's still happening now. And I live in the Missouri for a little bit, and I live in Florida. Okay, and when I say that the amount of racism that I've experienced in my lifetime, I've experienced more racist encounters in California from non-white people, particularly, I'm gonna keep it a buck, particularly from Hispanic Latino people.
No, not the Hispanic Latino. No, I'm shocked. She said, in particularly the Hispanic Latino. No, those were our main allies. Those were our number 2 amigos. Our numero uno amigos. That's what they told us. That's what we were told during election season when Trump was like, we got to get all these. Remember, he said when they're not sending their best, and all the Democrats were like, no, you can't do that. You can't say that. You told me that these people were our numero uno amigos más grandes. That's what you told me. You told me that we were amigos más grandes. But here I find out that's not really true.
Non-white in California from non-white people, particularly, I'm going to keep it a buck, particularly from Hispanic, Latino people. I've experienced more racism from them. I've been called the N-word with a hard R from more Latinos, Hispanic people in California than I've ever experienced living in Florida.
You know how racist a Mexican has to be to use the hard R? Like, they don't even use hard R's in most of their language. They go, rrr. They're supposed to be like nigga. They actually pervert their own cultural customs to call you a proper nigger with a hard R. That's how about it they really are about this life. That's how much they mean that shit. Because, you know, in Latin, in Hispanic language, you typically roll your R's. You know, your perro, perito. You know, it's a lot of, but they don't do that with the N-word. They be like, nigger. Like, they stop rolling the R and say a hard R because they want you to understand it. They want you to feel it in white man English.
Word with a hard R from more Latinos, Hispanic people in California than I've ever experienced living in Florida and living in Missouri. And mind you, Missouri.
Shout out to Red Illusion. He says, that's how you know we was cooking when we invented that word. Shut up, nigga. Shut up. Shout out to all the white niggas in the chat. Y'all loving this moment right now, ain't y'all? White folk are just watching this moment gleefully. Like, I told them, niggas. I tried to tell them. Shut up, God damn you.
Encounters in California from non-white people, particularly, I'm going to keep it a buck, particularly from Hispanic, Latino people. I've experienced more racism from them. I've been called the N-word with a hard R from more Latinos, Hispanic people in California than I've ever experienced living in Florida and living in Missouri. And mind you, Missouri was the last state to abolish slavery. Okay? So that's just to give you perspective. So, you know, Florida and Missouri, the South, the Midwest, like, they have their own set of issues. But when it comes particularly to racism towards Black people, Black American people, I'm trying to tell you, California is what you think the South is when it comes to racism.
Damn.
California race.
Damn. So they just dethroned Alabama and Georgia and Florida, huh? Because those would be like the top 3 states in my mind for real racism. You know, South Carolina might be up there too, but, you know, deep South, you don't get no deeper than the Florida Panhandle. You feel me? And California is worse than that. That's just wild. It's shocking to believe.
I'm going to drop some more game for y'all this morning. When people tell you as a Black American that you have no allies, they're not just saying that to be facetious. It's true. I see a lot of times Black people are so confused why immigrants are not in allyship with us. And it's because in order for them to come across the sea, it's an unspoken rule that they can't come here and be friends with you. The same way that, you know, when a lot of dudes want to date interracially, they talk down upon Black women. That's the key into their world. You have to blatantly, literally, I'm not even kidding, it's a requirement. You have to denounce Black people. Why do you think Trump, his whole entire election, a lot of his election campaigning was talking about Black people? That's the key into the world. Yes, it's a cop-out. Yes, it's kind of tasteless, and it's, you know, it's kind of, it's like you can't find any other creative ways to get here. No. It's the easiest way into the hearts of a lot of these Americans. Denounce Black people. So if you think that you're going to be in allyship with a lot of these people, you can't be. Because in order to get here, they have to denounce Black people. That's why that Cuban dude from Florida, that Cuban lawmaker's freaking secretary, and I'll stitch his face up here, he was talking down upon Black people, and you're like, look at what America is doing to Cuba right now. Yeah, he letting everybody know, yeah, I know what America's doing to Cuba, but we're still in the game. We're still wanting to be here. That's why I keep telling you as a black person, yeah, I know you know about racism, but how much do you know about yourself? And what role are you being used for that you don't even realize you're being used for?
Black folk just don't get it. Like, stop thinking racism is your greatest challenge, and that's why you're gonna be so allowing of all these other people to come into the country and take your birthright and your children's birthright, because you think we're all fighting racism together, therefore everything goes. That's how you got in this mess. Stop putting racism as your primary goal in life. Your primary goal is to not fight racism.
That's why them dudes would be at the outside like, I don't like black women. And it's a bunch of women lined up behind him. And you like, why are all of these women lined up behind him? He's speaking down upon black women. That's the requirement. That's the key to my heart.
Yeah, and shout out to St. Michael in the chat. St. Michael of Cigarillo. He says, allyship means you're down with the Fanouks. Yeah, allyship is a gay concept. So it's a Fanook concept. Allyship is a Fanook strategy.
That white woman said, I ain't paying y'all. I'm calling ICE.
You guys heard about the lady that hired a roofing crew, and then after they finished roofing, she called ICE on them before she had to pay them. ICE got there before they could, like, you know, get out of there or mess the roof up or whatever. Because, you know, normally you try to play funny with a contractor, they mess up the work they did. She had ICE there before they could do anything. Soon as ICE got there, the roof was done, and they had to go back home to Mexico.
Got them men arrested after they completed the work on her home, did the job. And instead of her just being a good person and paying those men and letting them go on their merry way, she called ICE. No telling how much work they did and how much she owed them. She knew exactly what she was doing before she did it. But see, the thing about it is the people that she called ICE on trusted her. They always do. Y'all are on their side, but you don't realize that they are not on your side. The only time they're on your side is when it's someone who looks like me in the middle. They'll pick you then. But as soon as I'm gone, they're not picking you. It's always that way. It's always going to be that way. And I'm not saying that all white people are just this way, but it's very hard to decipher who is who.
Clearly, she doesn't understand that white woman is on her side. Even if that white woman is objectively racist and doesn't like you as a black person, she is doing you a big favor right now by calling ICE on these illegal immigrants. This is the point I was making on a previous channel right before I started this podcast up tonight. I was telling these guys, technically, your only real ally in America is white people. Even the ones that are racist are technically more of a friend to you than all these other ethnicities who basically just want to take your spot.
Because you never know. And then they'll smile in your face for a moment, be happy and jolly and glad you're around. And as soon as you turn your back, that switch is flipped. They're showing their true colors. Don't trust them. I hope this was a learning lesson for all of you.
I'm sorry to admit this, but I believe white people are the most ruthless, evil, heartless people ever, because this white lady hired this Hispanic-owned company.
Look, this is why we're losing, by the way. This is why we're losing. These are the kinds of things that you have to do to get ahead. Meanwhile, you got all these other black women on TikTok complaining because I got to learn how to speak Spanish to get a goddamn job at McDonald's. I got to learn how to speak Spanish to work at fucking Kohl's. Nobody needs to learn how to speak Spanish to fold linen and pants and shit.
To come out and remodel some things on her house. And after they was done, y'all, instead of her paying them for their service, she called ICE on them. That really pissed me off so bad because they was good enough for you to let them work on your house, but instead of you paying them, you say, you know what, I'm gonna call ICE on them. I don't like to wish bad on people because I'm really a child of God, but at the same time, that really hurted my heart that somebody would go to those extreme levels to do some evil stuff like that. And this happened in Maryland.
This is why historically we never put women in charge of security. This is why, you don't really let a lot of chicks patrol the border. They're just going to feel bad for somebody one day. And then, it's all downhill from there.
That's evil, y'all. And y'all Hispanics, I wouldn't accept no more of those people.
Look, and you want to be an ally, but they won't let you in, though. This is the problem of the Black community, and it's like racial political stance right now. You want to be an ally, but they won't ally with you. Not in any of the ways that count.
I wouldn't even be accepting those people at all. At all, because that's so evil, bro. That hurt my feelings so bad. I'm sorry.
I just saw someone say that there's racism in Arizona. Mind you, I've lived in Arizona a long time, many years off and on. There's racism in Arizona because most of the jobs require you to be bilingual. I can get to Mexico in 4 hours. No fucking shit, you need to be bilingual. Just because you're underqualified for a job does not make people racist. I'm so confused. You're just not qualified. You're not bilingual. You're not qualified. That doesn't make them racist. You're just not qualified. That was the craziest video I've ever seen in my life.
See, she's totally bought into it. She's totally bought into it. She's a border girl. She's just got to roll with it. I mean, hey, it is what it is. In order to be qualified, you have to learn a whole foreign language. I mean, she's just putting it out there plainly. You got to learn and roll with the punches, man.
California has a very interesting racial dynamic.
She still ain't get her hair done. Somebody don't get this girl a job right away. God damn, I'm tired of seeing you struggle, baby girl.
California has a very interesting racial dynamics, and that you kind of have to live here or be from here to really understand how it works, because it's very different than the South, the Midwest, the East Coast, and the other parts of the United States. The white people in California are actually progressive. They really are. And what I've noticed...
She said the white people are actually chill. It's not even the white people. The white people don't even give her a problem, because you know what? In most urban environments, white folk are either generally chill, and even the ones who are kind of chill, they're almost always just generally there's a low level of fear between white and black, because they never know if you're one of the nice ones until you kind of actually meet and talk. And so most of the white folk, they're not even trying to bother you about most things. Most of the white folk don't even want to get in your way about anything. It's these other non-white folks. They have the fear of growing up in third world jungle poverty. I mean, they have the bravery, rather, of growing up in third world jungle poverty. They will come tell your black ass that niggas don't belong here, and now you got a problem. It's not the white people.
The Midwest, the East Coast, and the other parts of the United States. The white people in California are actually progressive. They really are. And what I've noticed, so it's not all of them. Some of them do be on bullshit. So, and then they're the ones that do be on bullshit, they usually congregate, or they come together in their different little pockets in cities across the state. So there do be some of them that do be on bullshit. But a good chunk of white Americans that live in California, they really try to be so far removed from the history of white and black dynamics over the years, that have happened, like they try to be so far removed from it. And that's what I find really interesting, because when you think about racism and prejudice, especially given the history and the context of, the historical context of America, most people automatically assume, when they think of racism and they think of prejudice towards Black Americans, they assume that white people are the perpetrators. But in California, that's not the case. There are non-Black, non-white people of color, your Hispanics, your Asians, and everybody else who fits into that category, who are the perpetrators of prejudice and racism towards Black Americans in California. Now, that doesn't mean that white people are not doing anything, but in the majority of white people here in California actually are like trying to uphold progressive values.
And you know the irony of that? Those are the very white people who are responsible for you having to deal with all this Latino racism. That's the irony of it. Those are the white people who have caused the problem for you. If it had not been for these hippie, progressive, we are the world, I love all the poor brown people, those white people are the reason why they're here. They are the open borders crowd. They are the people who say, let them all come here, but they don't have to live in my nice white neighborhood. Put them down at the bottom of the hill where the Blacks live. And that's why your Black community is no longer Black. That's why Southern California is no longer Black. They really chased you niggas out of an entire state. As far as I understand it, I'm not from Cali, so I'm not going to speak as an insider, boots on the ground, but ethnicity and demographics are a matter of public record, and California is just nowhere near as Black as it used to be. Southern California, Compton, Los Angeles, Watts, all these Black places have been kind of slowly taken over. And you know what? It's not just California either. It's just most visible in California. It's happening everywhere, little by little, block by block, job by job.
It's very interesting. It's not what you expect. While the non-Black, non-white people of color they're cosplaying as if they are white Southerners from the antebellum South. That's what's happening in California. California has very interesting racial dynamics.
Racism today looks a lot different than it did 40 or 50 years ago, right? The racism that our grandparents experienced, that our parents experienced, is different from the one we experience today. The system is still racist, but the way it operates has changed. It's not as explicit, it's softer, it's quieter. And in his book, Racism Without Racists, sociologist Eduardo Bonilla Silva explains how this shift happened. We're looking at chapter 3 now. By the way, I'm Dr. Esther Trujillo.
Is she trying to cop out and say it's racism without racist? What does that even mean?
It's not as explicit, it's softer, it's quieter. And in his book, Racism Without Racists, sociologist Eduardo Bonilla Silva explains how
it's like they're trying to say only white people can be racist, but I'm still going to do racism things.
How this shift happened. We're looking at chapter 3 now. By the way, I'm Dr. Esther Trujillo, and I post about Latinos in the US from an academic perspective. So come along if you're interested in the topic we've been covering on my TikTok, which is Latinos and Anti-Black Racism. So this is what Bonilla Silva means in chapter 3. Back in the day, racism was loud, it was explicit. There were signs that said whites only. Today, most people would never say things like that out loud. Instead, racism shows up through systems, practices, and policies that maintain inequality without the mention of race at all. So these structures continue to produce systemically unequal outcomes, even when there's not a single racist person to be found among those systems. For my Latinos watching, that includes me and you, because we can be perpetrators as well as receivers of racism. When inequality shows up today, it's often discussed in terms of individual shortcomings. Maybe an individual made bad choices, and that's why they're in the position that they're in today, and not because of systemic issues. Systemic racism doesn't rely on individuals to espouse hateful terminologies or ideas anymore. It only requires them to blindly support the systems that uphold inequality and continue to reproduce inequities. And in chapter 3, Bonilla Silva tells us prior to the end of Jim Crow, racism was explicit, and then afterwards it became more quiet. So this new racism instead relies on people aligned with white supremacy to be the ones who do the policing. This type of racism often whispers, right? As is the case with microaggressions, which there are many types of. I'll do a video on it soon. But new racism can sometimes also be loud. Folks that are aligned with white supremacy will often take it upon themselves to enforce the rules and mores of white supremacist society. And this can manifest itself by, going up to Black people in public spaces and deriding them for doing things that don't fall in line with expectations, like playing music loudly on the train or the bus, or having a barbecue in a park. New racism, the feature of it is that it doesn't mention race. It just says you're breaking the rules. You're breaking the rules. Whose rules, Paula? Whose rules? Okay, so what do you think? Has racism changed over time? And if so, how? Let me know in the comments. Racism today.
This is probably going to piss some people off, but this has to be said. And I speak only from my experience and coming from a Hispanic household. Us Hispanics, we are racist against Black people. Let's not fucking lie. Let's not cap. Hispanics are fucking racist against Blacks. But let me explain. But I feel like a lot of us aren't racist in the way of being fucked up or mean it in a bad way. It doesn't justify being racist. But I feel like it's more like we keep it between the family type racist. But then again, there's also those Mexicans that actually take the racist serious, and they're actually fucked up racist. So there's two. But I'm talking about the funny racist that I think a lot of us Mexicans and Hispanics can relate to. Especially our Hispanic dads, whenever they see a Black guy, for sure it's always ira ese mayate, ese mayuga, ese prieto, ese negro. Just all these, why do you have to call them all that when you see them, And of course we try to tell them no, don't say that, why pa que les dices eso, why are you calling them that? I got Black homies, they're cool. And of course just being your hard-headed Hispanic parents, nah, son bien rateros, they steal, they always start problems, they're loud, they're angry.
You niggas steal. Shout out to racial stereotypes. Stereotypes are born in some type of kernel of truth. Not all, but enough for you niggas. Why do you have the reputation of stealing? Everybody says that.
Why pa que les dices eso? Why are you calling them that? I got Black homies, they're cool. And of course, just being your hard-headed Hispanic parents, nah, son bien rateros, they steal. They always start problems, they're loud, they're annoying. We try to protect them, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we're racist, because we speak English, the kids speak English, we got Black friends, of course. So we try to defend it, but our parents are so hard-headed, they're just, to them it's no, it's that's what they are, just because they see all the bad shit on TV, so they want to they think that about every Black person just because they see one bad thing about one Black person. Basically, big time stereotypes. Even if you bring a Black friend over, they're still racist towards him. They're not gonna say it to him, but to you, y este pinche negrito que, or this little Black kid what, stuff like that. They'll say it in a playful type way, not in like I said, not in a fucked up way.
Shout out to playful racism, man. You got to take what you can get, man. Shout out to playful racism. It's like Nerf racism. It's got soft foam edges made specifically for children, so nobody gets hurt.
But still, at the end of the day, we're still fucking racist. Or if for example, me and my brother, we like soccer and we'd go play. You get together with friends. A lot of our African and Black friends would come play. Obviously my dad was cool with all of them and everything, Like, yo, like, obviously when we see them, when you get to the field or something between me and my brother and my dad, it'd be like, it's pinche mayuguillas. Like, he started talking to shit about the black guys in a funny way. Like, he's just being funny, but still, like, it's always about the black dudes, like, talking shit about them. Like these little fucking black kids, like just spitting the shit like that, you know? But when it comes to, like, girls dating black dudes, oh, yeah, I feel like that's the big fucking issue. Like, the world ends. Like,
everybody's racist against black men's dicks, y'all. That is the one racism that is universal. Every race, every culture, every ethnicity, even Africans, they hate black American men's dicks. Everybody does. That is the one commonality, the universal racism. They all can't stand niggas' dicks, bro. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. That nothing will get you hung and strung up faster than poking your dick where it don't belong.
Like, it's always about the black dudes, like, talking shit about them. Like these little fucking black kids, like just spitting the shit like that, you know? But when it comes to, like, girls dating black dudes, oh, yeah, I feel like that's the big fucking issue. Like, the world ends. Like, I feel like that just really brings out the racists and Latinos. I don't know why. Like, now that I'm older, like, why do you guys get so mad? Just because a black guy dates a Mexican girl, your daughter? Like, why? Just because he's black?
That's all it takes, bro. Nothing will ruin a woman's reputation like a little black dick. I'm trying to tell you, that shit burns up her community.
Just I feel like, to me, I feel like a lot of Hispanic dads or Mexican dudes get mad when a girl's dating a black guy, because the first thing they think is they got a big, you know what. But I'm like, why? Like,
because every stereotype has a kernel of truth in it. God damn it, everyone. Not all, but enough for you niggas, all right? Not all, but enough for you niggas. All I'm saying is there is nothing as racially threatening as a big black dick. Everybody in the world, that's their number one fear. It's like a fear and a fetish at the same time. That's why they put that shit in all the adult movies. It's always like Mandingo takes your young woman. Everywhere around the world, there's some Mandingo slinging dick and making a movie about it. It's a thing. I'm telling you, it's just the way it is.
That I'm older, like, why do you guys get so mad? Just because a black guy dates a Mexican girl, your daughter? Like, why? Just because he's black?
Yes, Miss Cantrell. FBA dick supremacy all day. It is the one black thing I will share pride in. I don't give a shit about Jesse Owens. I don't give a shit about whoever the first black astronaut was. I can give a shit about anything Clarence Thomas wrote, but God damn it, FBA dick supremacy all day. All day. You know what, Whitey can keep the moon. You'll never swing as low as me, God damn it. Whitey, you can have the moon. There are some things in life a spaceship just can never make up for. Matter of fact, that's low-key why Whitey wants to take the moon. That's why Whitey wants the moon, because he can never have this. And I'm not even mad at that. You can have the moon, I'll have this, and we can coexist side by side.
Just I feel like, to me, I feel like a lot of Hispanic dads or Mexican dudes get mad when a girl's dating a black guy, because the first thing they think is they got a big, you know what. But I'm like, why? Like, why does that? Like, you assume every black dude has a big, you know, and that's not true. I've met girls that have told me not every black guy has a big, you know, they haven't had that experience with every black dude. So,
bro, they were just trying to save your feelings, bro. They were just trying to tell you that so that you wouldn't feel away and mess up the moment. You know how women lie. If a girl like you, she gonna lie to save your ego until she stopped liking you. They were just telling you that because she didn't want to mess up the vibe. You probably paid for the tacos and shit. She wasn't trying to mess up that night. It was Taco Tuesday.
You know what? But I'm like, why? Like, why does that? Like, you assume every black dude has a big, you know, and that's not true. I've met girls that have told me not every black guy has a big, you know, they haven't had that experience with every black dude. So even if it was true, like, who cares? Like, why is that triggering you? that a black guy might have a big.
You got to understand, like, just think about where we are. This is a 6-minute video, right? And around 3 minutes in, he started talking about black men's dicks. And all of this in the context of Latino racism. And I kind of think these two things are connected. The fact that he connected them makes me think these things are connected. I'm just saying, like, maybe there's a thing, you know, we don't have all the things, but we have some of the things. It's okay to hate. Just say you're a hater, bro.
Chile, and he's piping down your daughter. Like, regardless, big or not, he's piping her down. So why does it matter if it's big or not?
Because it's big and black. There is something psychologically traumatizing and triggering because it's big and black. Something about that thought in your mind is like Ragnarok. It's just the end of all things for you.
I feel like that's the biggest issue. I feel like a lot of us Mexicans are insecure, or Hispanic dads, that a black dude might have a big Chile, and that's why they get mad. But I don't see why. She's gonna get piped down regardless, and I feel like they use that as an excuse to.
And also, most of you Mexicans aren't 6 feet tall either. What is it like? What's the percentage of Mexicans that are above 5'11"? It's like 1%, under 1%. We're just bigger and blacker. And in a lot of ways, it's not always a disadvantage. Sometimes it helps to be bigger and blacker. You just got to learn to swing that shit right.
Even more racist towards black guys. But I feel like all this racist shit needs to stop, and getting mad because your daughter is just dating a black guy, and like, I feel like all this shit should stop. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was funny when I was younger. You know, you're younger, you don't know any better, you're just fucking around with your dad and your uncles.
Tired of these Mexicans being racist because I have a huge dick. Every time I go to get a burrito, I can just tell how they look at me. Pincho grande maete. They hate me because I have a huge dick. And I'm really sick of it. I wish you could love me for having a huge dick instead of hating me. Why can't I get my props as a black man?
Whatever, your family. But now I'm like, why? Like, there's no reason to talk shit about them just because they're black. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I got black homies. Barber's black. Like, there's no reason to be saying shit like that, you know? Even if it's playing around. And I'm not trying to justify, like I said, like, even though my dad's playing around and we're playing around, like,
your dad tells you weird jokes. Like, so as a kid, your dad tells you black dick jokes. That is crazy. Mexican culture is so fascinating. I'm learning things today I would have never assumed otherwise. Like, as a young little Mexican kid, as a little niño, his dad telling him black dick jokes. Like, why? Why is that a thing that is shared from Mexican father to Mexican son? Like, pause, Papi, please, no, Papi, no mas, Papi.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you guys still consider that racist? Even though some families don't mean it in like a fucked up way? Or no? Like, what do you guys think? Because at the end of the day, my dad still fucks with black dudes. Like I said, our friends, he goes up to them like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, like, they say what's up to my dad. Like, all my black homies have been cool with my dad. Even though my dad's talk shit about all of them, low key.
It's okay, bro. I forgive your dad. It's okay, bro.
But he still says what's up to them. He still respects them. That's the thing. He's not fucked up to them. He respects everybody the same. He just talks shit about black guys. That's all I'm trying to say. And I know a lot of you Hispanic dads and have people like that in your family that be talking shit about black people. So don't be fucking lying. But like I said, I got black friends. I'm not racist. I just feel like I should call it out how it is. I know a lot of Hispanics be doing this shit. Some mean it in a playful way, you know, playful / fucked up way, but some actually mean it like for real. But I feel like that shit should stop.
You know, I really think there's nothing really wrong with a little bit of playful racism. You know, we can all lighten up a bit and take some jokes and some friendly ribbing and all that. Shout out to Face Facts with the $4.99. Is child support white supremacy? You know, jokes like that, right? The idea that supporting your child is low-key white culture or a white imposition, you know, these are all friendly levels of racism. We can all learn to be less serious and stop having to stick up our ass all the time. Shout out to my man Face Facts with the $4.99.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
I know a lot of Hispanics be doing this shit. Some mean it in a playful way, you know, playful / fucked up way, but some actually mean it like for real. But I feel like that shit should stop. We need to unite. We need to be cool. Stop stereotyping. But like I said, some of our parents are just too hard-headed. They're not going to get it. But what do you guys think about this? You guys go through this? Your fam like that? Let me know.
Racism in the Latino community is absolutely horrendous. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was introduced to this Salvadorian girl by one of my friends. The school that I went to for a short period of time, it was predominantly Black, Hispanic, and Latino, with Hispanic and Latino being the majority. When I first met her, she had long brown hair, big brown eyes, and red rosy cheeks. I took a liking to her. We're heading into winter break, and we decided to get to know each other during that time. We talked pretty much every day. We went on a few dates. It was a great experience. During this time, we were sharing so much about each other's culture. She was telling me all about El Salvador and Salvadoran culture, and I was telling her more about Black culture that she didn't know about. Despite our different races and backgrounds and how heavily divided our school was, we still had a good relationship. After winter break, her and I decided that in the future, we were going to keep our relationship on the down low. Only close friends will know about our relationship. At the time, I did not understand why we even did this in the first place. Why is it such a problem and a nuisance to keep our relationship a secret from everybody else? What's also strange to me is her family allows her to be in a relationship. However, she also wanted to keep that from her parents as well. Like I said, I didn't understand why, but I went along with it anyway. At this time, this was one of the most healthiest relationships I've ever been in because she genuinely cared about me and my well-being, and the connection was astronomical. A few months that felt like days has passed, and then the worst has finally come. Our relationship has spread it all across the school, and in the beginning, people responded with positive feedback. Until the next day, an abundant amount of Hispanic and Latinos in the community was very displeased and unsatisfied with my relationship with her.
Has anybody ever been the secret Black boyfriend? Has any woman in the chat ever had a secret Black boyfriend? I'm curious. Miss Cantrell, have you ever had a secret Black boyfriend? I'm curious. How common is that? You know, because this is like a Romeo, Juliet, you know, kids from the wrong side of the tracks type of thing. He was apparently the secret Black boyfriend, and he didn't even realize it right away.
She kept getting threats of comments of people saying that she should not be dating a Black man. He is Black. You should not be dating her. You should be dating an Hispanic man. You should be dating a Latino man. At the time, she did the best she could to fight for me, her, and our relationship. However, in the end, she was suffering from too much mental and emotional pain. Eventually, some people in the Latino community went out of their way to contact her mother to tell her that she is dating a Black man. As it turns out, despite her wanting to be in a relationship with me, her family was very racist and discriminative towards Black people. Her family was comparing me to Black stereotypes, ghetto, hood rat.
Oh, that's another one. Has anyone in the chat had a secret Black girlfriend? Has any one of you ladies ever been the secret Black girlfriend? Secret Keisha. Yeah, that's who I am. Anybody ever been the secret Black Keisha?
Thief made some other comments like Black people are beneath us, they are third rate, you shouldn't be stooping so low to date someone like that. Apparently, a lot of the people in the Latino community who showed disinterest in our relationship thought and felt the same way, but more on colorism. My skin complexion was a threat and a problem to them because they did not like me dating another Latino woman. There were some other Latino men who was very jealous of the fact that I was dating someone like her. With all due respect, she is very attractive, especially with the school that we went to. Her and I was forced to break up and we discontinued our relationship. But unfortunately, it gets worse. There was these two Latina men who was very angry of the fact that I was dating her to begin with, and they wanted to fight me. At the time, I lacked combat skills and experience, and these two Latino guys who wanted to
This nigga said I lacked combat skills. I have never heard a black man say something so white in my life. Just tell me that you got jumped by some Mexicans because you was dating an El Salvadorian chick, bro. This thing is like, see, in all actuality, what I actually lacked was combat skills. This nigga just tried to breed a fucking mission debriefing to me. I lacked combat skills. No, you didn't. You don't know how to fight, nigga. Combat skills are what you use in the jungle when you've been dropped out of a plane at 20,000 feet. That's when you need combat skills. You don't need combat skills to date a Mexican while you're in middle school, bro. No, this is not manga talk. Exactly. Manga talk. You lack combat skills. Ah, this nigga killed me. I can tell listening to him. He's like a lefty nerd type of dude. He's definitely educated lame material. But you killed me when you said combat skills. And your nappy little box fade is killing me. A nigga with a nappy box fade needs to develop combat skills. I feel like the black community let him down. You should have been beating his ass long enough that no Mexicans could have ever got the drop on him. This nigga got a nappy-headed box fade, and black people didn't prepare this nigga for the world. That is a community failure. We were supposed to bully this nigga properly so he can't get bullied by some little 5-foot Mexicans or whatever the hell they were. El Salvadorians. El Salvadorians are probably littler than Mexicans. How you get beat up by niggas littler than Mexicans, bro? This is a shame on black people everywhere. This is why you have to bully your kids so they can go out into the world prepared for real shit.
Relationship. However, in the end, she was suffering from too much mental and emotional pain. Eventually, some people in the Latino community went out of their way to contact her mother to tell her that she is dating a black man. As it turns out, despite her wanting to be in a relationship with me, her family was very racist and discriminative towards black people. Her family was comparing me to black stereotypes, ghetto, hood rat, a thief, made some other comments like black people are beneath us, they are third rate, you shouldn't be stooping so low to date someone like that. Apparently, a lot of the people in the Latino community who showed disinterest in our relationship thought and felt the same way, but more on colorism. My skin complexion was a threat and a problem to them because they did not like me dating another Latino woman. There were some other Latino men who was very jealous of the fact that I was dating someone like her. With all due respect, she is very attractive, especially with the school that we went to.
You took one of the few baddies that they had and you didn't know how to fight. This is why thugs get the girls, by the way. Because if you're going to take one of their baddies, you might have to be okay with plugging a nigga every now and then. Listen, man, the price of a baddie sometimes is death, all right? I'm not saying I'm about to die for this bitch, but somebody is. That's the price of a baddie.
Her and I was forced to break up and we discontinued our relationship. But unfortunately, it gets worse. There was these two Latina men who was very angry of the fact that I was dating her to begin with, and they wanted to fight me. At the time, I lacked combat skills and experience, and these two Latino guys who wanted to fight me were boxers. I was put at a major disadvantage, but despite this, I didn't really have a choice because there was honor and pride on the line. Despite me knowing for an absolute fact that I couldn't win against these two massive boxers.
Massive, bro? How big were they? They were Salvadorian, bro. How big were they? What do you even mean massive? Come on, stop capping. They were both your height, skinnier than you, and you just couldn't deal with it. It was two of them. Just say it was two of them. All you had to do is say it was two of them. That's enough for me. You're like, no, bro. These were the biggest Mexicans you ever seen in your life, bro. Stop lying.
A problem to them because they did not like me dating another Latino woman. There were some other Latino men who was very jealous of the fact that I was dating someone like her. With all due respect, she is very attractive, especially with the school that we went to. Her and I was forced to break up and we discontinued our relationship. But unfortunately, it gets worse. There was these two Latino men who was very angry of the fact that I was dating her to begin with, and they wanted to fight me. At the time, I lacked combat skills and experience, and these two Latino guys who wanted to fight me were boxers. I was put at a major disadvantage, but despite this, I didn't really have a choice because there was honor and pride on the line. Despite me knowing for an absolute fact that I couldn't win against these two massive boxers, I still showed up anyway. And I fought, I got my ass beat.
You get points for showing up. Good for you. I'm not gonna clown you because you took the L. I'm clowning you because how you described the L. You described the L like it was an anime fight. This nigga had his Dragon Ball Z showdown. Nigga was throwing spirit bombs and KO kids. He was pulling every maneuver he could think of, and his shit just wasn't working against the good stiff Mexican jab.
And I lost. Granted, my Salvadorian girlfriend at the time had no idea about any of this until I told her afterwards. After I went home looking like a complete mess and taking a very honorable ass whooping, I might add, my uncle was there and he said,
he really wants to get points for showing up to the ass whooping, bro. Like, come on, man. I already gave you the points, bro. You can stop glazing yourself, bro. I ain't never seen a self glaze this hard in my life. Goddamn. Stop glazing yourself. You showed up and took the L. All right, God damn it, you're a man. Is that what you want to hear? You're a man, damn it. You showed up and took the L. Get over this shit. God damn.
Like a complete mess and taking a very honorable ass whooping, I might add. My uncle was there and he said to me, "Did you win?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Did you learn something from this?"
Uncle, but no dad. What'd your dad say? You got beat up by two Mexicans. What'd your dad say? I'm curious, bro. What? Huh? All right, you know what? Never mind. We'll come back to that.
Absolutely. At that moment in time, after taking a very...
I'm just saying, my dad would have told me some things, is all I'm saying. My dad wouldn't have let me feel proud about that shit.
Honorable ass woman, I decided to learn how to fight myself. A year later, I took up Taekwondo, Kung Fu, and boxing.
This nigga, they made him learn 3 martial arts. This is how powerful Latino racism is. The nigga learned 3 combat skills. You understand the beating he had to take to learn 3 combat skills? There was only 2 of them, bro. Why you had to learn 3 different combat skills? There was only 2 different Mexicans. What the hell did they do to you, my nigga? God damn. This is really, I blame your absentee father now. I really do. You had to learn 3 combat skills to go back and get your win back against 2 Mexicans. Come on, bro. You making the race look bad, my nigga. And do me a favor, comb out that afro.
I still do it to this day, but this is just one of those stories that, once again, I've faced through a lot of colorism and racism, especially when it comes to my relationships and friendships. And you know what? Despite that relationship ending...
Yo, Party, they took his number 2 headband, Party. The nigga got beat up at 3 o'clock after school and they took his number 2 headband, bro. He been trying to get that shit back ever since. This nigga on a lifelong quest to get his number 2 headband back. Oh, man, this is some wild shit, bro.
And getting my ass beat by 2 intermediate boxers, one thing I can say for sure about myself, at least I wasn't a bitch. But why bring this up now? 1 is because it's one of the next stories I wanted to share with you. And 2, I have been seeing so many stories from so many Black women, especially brown and dark-skinned women and men, sharing their experiences of racism and colorism from the Latino and Hispanic communities. And my people being constantly shamed and rejected because of our skin tone, because we are the Black people. Being constantly rejected and called ugly and inferior.
I'm sorry, but suddenly I don't want to be Black with this kid anymore. Is that wrong? Am I bad? Am I doing something wrong? I don't want to be Black with this kid no more. I'm on my own. That's why I keep saying I am not with these niggas, man. I am a thing unto itself. You got to describe me in other terms. I just look Black. I happen to resemble a melanated nigga. I am desperately not with these niggas.
Because of our skin tones is absolutely insufferable, and it can cause self-hatred within ourselves. So, to all of my beautiful melanated Black people, especially the Black women, please understand me. You are God's and Mother Nature's greatest accomplishment and greatest creation. You are the Black Pearl.
You just got beat up for dating an El Salvadorian chick. And now at the end of the video, Black women, you are the most beautiful creatures. You are the most, oh my God, bro. I want the Mexicans to beat you up all over again. I feel like they didn't do a proper job.
Onyx crystal that shines brightly when the sun radiates off of your skin. The way your body touches the sand and the water that slides off of your skin.
You wasn't saying that shit when you was trying to get that burrito, bitch. You was not talking all this Black woman is God shit when you was up in them El Salvadorian cheeks, bro. Stop it.
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the Black woman is God, and
Black woman is God.
I say the Black woman is God.
The Black woman is God because, you know, she was the first organism on this planet.
There is nothing more beautiful than that. From your hair to your eyes and your skin tone to your wisdom and your nurturing, you are the greatest reflection of Mother Nature itself. You are absolutely fruitful, and your potential in love is insurmountable compared to anyone and anything else. Understand me. Do not let...
Yo, my audience telling me that you died during that beating. There's something else just wearing your skin suit right now. Them niggas took your life during that beating. Your body just walking around on Black woman is God autopilot right now.
Anyone destroy your self-love or to strip you away of your Blackness. Understand that you are the greatest that has ever lived. You hold values and attributes that even our ancient African goddess themselves has passed on to you.
Yo, they beat that nigga pro-Black, bro. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. I ain't never seen nothing. This nigga got beat pro-Black by a couple of Salvadorian gangsters, bro. I ain't never. How you do that? How? How do you beat the pro-Black into a nigga, bro? How do you beat the pro-Black into a nigga? Help me out.
You are absolutely fruitful, and your potential in love is insurmountable compared to anyone and anything else.
Definitely a strange turn of events. They beat the Blackness into this nigga. That's what you get for dating an El Salvadorian chick. Let me remind you, you is a nigga. You better start talking about Black women, you bitch ass nigga. They beat the Black into that nigga. This is amazing.
Onyx crystal that shines brightly when the sun radiates off of your skin. The way your body touches the sand and the water that slides off of your skin. There is nothing more beautiful than that. From your hair to your eyes and your skin tone to your wisdom and your nurturing, you are the greatest reflection of Mother Nature itself. You are absolutely fruitful, and your potential in love is insurmountable compared to anyone and anything else. Understand me. Do not let anyone destroy your self-love or to strip you away of your Blackness. Understand that you are the greatest that has ever lived.
This is how niggas talk after they get beat up by Mexicans for dating a Latina. Niggas rediscover they fucking melanated chakras and shit. This is incredible.
Black Americans. Employers are not willing to hire Black Americans even if they are qualified.
Baby, just go ahead and apply for you a job at ICE. ICE, baby. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and get that job, honey. I heard they paying 401k, sign-on bonuses, everything, all the things of the things, honey, because you are absolutely right. They do discriminate against Black Americans in these jobs over there in LA and places like that. And baby, honestly, ICE is the quickest, most well-paid job that you're going to get. Plenty benefits. And it ain't no shame in it because you know what? ICE is a government agency the same way that the military is a government agency. They got to carry out the orders of whatever the president say too. And ain't nobody talking about that. They don't care about that. They not shaming nobody for that. So at the end of the day, they can never shame Black people for actually going to work for ICE either. Especially when they're keeping Black people out of the other types of job markets because of their racial and ethnic discrimination against us. Sometimes people create their own monsters because at the end of the day, a job is a job. Hell, half of us out here doing regular jobs and not working for ICE. We don't agree with what the company stands for. We don't believe in their, whatever their background is and stuff. But
do me a favor, throw $1 in the hat, y'all. I'm about to drop the link to open up the panel. Support the panel, y'all. Support the panel. Since they already demonetized the stream anyway, might as well just take on all comers. So I'm gonna throw the link in the chat in a few minutes because I'm actually toward the end of my little presentation for the night. Had about 2 hours of content for you guys anyway. We kind of worked our way up to that point. So I'm gonna open up the floor in a minute. Please support the panel, y'all.
we still work the job because we got to feed our families. I heard a lot of people get online, other Black people talking about, oh, you selling out your people, you're selling people out. Who people are we actually selling out? Or what are we selling out? You mean I'm paying my bills, I'm paying my mortgage, my kids actually get to eat every day. I'm saving, I'm doing all these, I'm taking care of myself. Because if the same Black people that's saying, or even other people that's coming out to say it, Latinos and everybody else in the immigrant community is talking down on Black people being in ICE. But it was only, first of all, a handful. The most demographic and racial demographic inside of ICE is actually Hispanic and Latino people. They're arresting their own people, if you really want to be honest. But them same people that's talking down on that job are the same people that will not give your ass as a Black American a job. They are the same people that will tell you that they're literally breeding all the Black and indigenous out of their blood to improve their race to become closer to whiteness.
That is a thing, by the way. I forgot what the word for it is, like blanqueamiento, something like that. But yeah, they believe in I don't want to say ethnic cleansing. Let's call it something nicer. Let's call it ethnic purification. That's what they think of it as.
We have to normalize not giving a damn what nobody think about us in the Black American community, because I can tell you I'm one of them people. I do not care. You can literally say whatever you want to about me.
Black America.
I receive hate from Black people here in California because I named the thing. They acknowledge that, yes, racism exists here in California, but they refuse to address it. So let me address what it is. When you're inside of your neighborhood that was predominantly once Black, and then you see non-Black people moving inside of the neighborhood, setting up shop, having stores inside of your neighborhood, they're price gouging. They go up on an item 100 to 200% difference than what you would have paid at the grocery market. These are the conversations that matter. They're price gouging. They're making you poor intentionally. That's called a food desert. They're intentionally price gouging. And then on top of that, their goods are expired. You smile at a white person. You don't make them check into your city, but Black people have to check into your city, and they're the ones who's pushing you out of your neighborhood, gentrifying the neighborhood. That's why they say that literacy is so important, because these are the conversations that we're having in politics on a local and national level. I receive hate from Black people here in California because I named.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Mexican.
I think we at the last video I had queued up for the show. I'm going to throw the link in the chat. Support the panel, y'all. Throw $1 in the hat. We're going to, oh, shoot, why did I drop that? We're going to keep this thing going, y'all. I'm going to open up the floor for some conversation. But like I said, Black folk have been discovering non-white racism, and it's pretty fascinating. It's like you didn't think it was possible, y'all. But I want to hear some thoughts from the audience members. Please like, share, and subscribe. Throw $1 in the hat. Click the link. We're going to drop the link in the panel. I'm going to drop the link to the panel in a minute. What just happened? Why is this not pasting? Let me grab this up here. Let me post the link one more time. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Please let me know what your thoughts are on non-white racism against Black people.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Mexicans, shit, we could honestly group Mexicans with Latinos, because Mexicans predominantly live here in California, are just as racist, if not more racist, as the people in the South, as white people in the South. Let me explain. So they're not like outwardly racist where they're gonna call you a fucking nigger, but actually some of them do that. But they're like covertly racist where they'll do special things for each other and they'll make it hard for Black people, especially in the workforce. So you'll have like a predominantly Latino, actually Mexican supervisors, managers, and they'll do special treatments for your Latino coworkers. But for my Black ass, it's like, oh no, I gotta work 10 times as hard. And it's just fucking sad. And I'm fucking over it. And when people ask me or be like, you know, how is it being from California? It's the ghetto. It's the ghetto. And it's interesting to me because like Latinos didn't just get this way. They've been this way. Like y'all are shocked that this man is running the country now. Like, no. Latinos, especially, like, I'm not even gonna, Mexicans want to be as close to whiteness as they can. And it's just amazing to me because it's like, even like growing up, like me, like growing up, my neighbor who was like 16, 17 years old was shot in the head, nearly motherfucking died by a motherfucking Mexican. Just cause. Granted, he was on drugs, but it's funny to me how racism cures through dementia, illnesses, and you know, like it doesn't matter that you have an addiction. Like he purposely shot that man in the head, and I want the fuck out. I want the fuck out. But there's like no place in the world that's safe for Black people. And then we wonder why suicide exists. And to be honest, while everybody is feeling bad for them, I'm not feeling bad for them. I'm not. I wish I could say I feel bad for Mexicans in this ICE situation, but at the end of the day, like they treat Black people the way ICE is treating them. So sorry to say, will never be people of color over here and Black people. Black Americans and people of color are fucking different. Because the motherfucking people of color, Mexicans, all the rest of them motherfucking brown motherfuckers are racist. They racist as fuck. They weird as fuck. And 0 out of 10 recommend. I'm tired. I don't.
For everyone who lives in Miami, South Florida area. If you do not live in the South Florida area, keep squirreling. Okay. Now that they're gone, I want to know what happened. Why do the Cubans and Colombians here hate the Blacks so much and make it blatant obvious? Like, I do not understand. When I'm in Cali, different Latinos, but me and the Mexicans, great. New York, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Blacks, great. In South Florida, oh my God, the Cubans and Colombians go out their way to be rude, nasty, and racist to us, and I don't understand it. And of course, I'm not saying all. Don't ever get it confused. I'm never saying all. I have some really close friends that are Cuban, love them to death. But the majority is wild. Like, it's so weird to me. And there's so many Afro-Cubans. So I'm like, do you guys treat the Afro-Cubans like this in Cuba? Like, how is this going? Like, they go out their way to be rude, nasty, and racist and let you know in their face. They're damn near worse than the white people that are racist. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I have a homegirl, love her down. She's Cuban. She looks more like a lighter complexion Cuban, but she has like 4C hair. And she even tells me how hard it is for her family. Like, oh my God, it's embarrassing. Straighten it. And I'm like, why? But like the other day, I was staying like an hour away from my house in South Florida, so I decided to get a hotel because I didn't feel like driving an hour was going to be at night. Guy at the front desk, so rude, nasty to me. Check-in's at 3. It's like $2.50. I see a Latino woman in front of me check in, and after me, let somebody check in. Nope, you better wait. Blah, 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 blah. And you can't lay on the couch. You can't do this on the couch. I'm like, sir, and I literally just like lean on the couch on the pillow to wait, like on the armrest. I'm like, okay. Then in the middle of the night, I come down to buy something from the store in the hotel. He's like, the store's closed. I'm doing inventory. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can wait. How long will it be? All night. You mean to tell me the store's closed all night? Really? 10 minutes later, I'm in the hallway getting some ice. I see a Hispanic man and woman coming in with drinks. So where'd you guys get it from? Oh, the store downstairs. I said, he said it was closed. Oh, yeah, he just took the rope off and opened it for me because it was just a rope. I'm like, what? Like, and that's just a small thing. I mean, it happens every day. The other day, I'm in Walmart, self-checkout, bringing out stuff. And mind you, I'm bringing out stuff for work. So I got like a lot of little candies and gum, little cheap stuff, like $1 or $2. And the lady's watching me. I can feel her burning into my back. Mind you, it's like eight self-checkout. She doesn't think anybody else. I'm the only Black person there, though. Next thing I know, she runs to the door. I want to check your bag. I said, no, why? Let me check. So she's trying to count every little thing. And I have like 30 little things. All of them are $2 or less. She's counting. I think you missed one. I'm like, nope, it's right here. And I did 2 separate transactions. So I know she's pissed now. But I'm like, and then another lady comes to the door, another Spanish lady, and she's like, no, you're not doing this to her. You guys kill me every time I come in the store. You guys treat black people bad. My baby's father is black. We're not doing this. And they start arguing in Spanish. So I appreciate her standing up for me, but why do you have to? Mind you, it's a lady to the right of me, a Hispanic lady. Dead ass, I seen her stealing. I ain't dead, ain't my business. But you're so busy watching me, not even watching Shorty over here. Like, I don't know. I just want answers. I just want to know if anyone knows the reason why it's so much division in what the hate is about. Because I don't like that. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? We're all minorities. Let's love each other. Like, what's the problem? You guys let me know. Y'all have a blessed day. Later.
Now, let me say this for the people who don't know. These Houston Mexicans are racist. The Houston Latino people are racist. I'm telling you, listen, I have been dealing with them for over 12, 13 years. You feel what I'm saying? These folks are racist, bro. Anytime you go on a job, the only focal point is going to be the black people. They're not going to tell their people nothing. They're going to let their people pretty much do whatever they want. But they're only going to focus on the things that you do wrong. I go through it all the time. You see what I'm saying? Now, mind you, I only work 2 days out the week. I really don't need to work, but I need to get out the house so I wouldn't be just sitting in the house really doing nothing. But anyway, from construction jobs to fast food jobs, that's why a lot of teenagers don't have fast food jobs, because you got 40, 50, 35-year-old immigrants, illegal, that's working these jobs. Because what they do, they fire all the black people. Once a Mexican become a manager, they fire all the black people, get them out of there, whether it's paperwork, whether it's through picking with them, whether it's whatever kind of situation, they get them out of there and put their people in there. Every single time. But it's not that they do that, it's the way they do it. You hear me? They can't rise up without shitting on the American black person or the black person, period. They can't rise up without doing that. If you know anything about working with a Mexican, they always telling so they could get a position, so they could get a spot. And that's not the way to do it. They always discriminating on who? Us, every time. It's no other group they attack like this. Never. And if you from Houston, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you won't be in denial, just be in denial. I don't give a damn. But yeah, man, they are very, very segregated and very racist. Only when they come down to us, kiss the white people ass, kiss the Asian ass, kiss everybody else ass. That's just what it is. If you don't like what I'm saying, I know plenty of Mexicans. Y'all teach y'all women not to mess with black men, and y'all teach y'all men not to mess with black women. This is what y'all teach in the household. Now, this is not all of them, because you got some great Mexicans that don't see no color, right? But for the most part, 90% of the time, this is what you're going to get from a lot of Mexicans, especially the older ones. If it's some younger ones, I don't really get it from them, but you're going to especially get it from the older ones. The younger ones that do it is the ones who was taught that in the household.
You know, that's absolutely right, Freeman's Journal. I think we're going to wrap it up on that point, too. Black people are used to being the special minority. Decades of voting for Democrats. Our special minority status is coming to an end abruptly, and it's going to be shocking and painful. It's going to be like getting hit in the face with a bucket of cold ice water.
Remake this video because I need to reiterate. Y'all don't know what the word racism means. Racism and prejudice are not the same thing. And when I say Hispanic people practice racism, this is what I mean. You Hispanic people do not hire black people. And y'all do this on purpose. That is a racist practice. That's when I talk about racism. I live in Los Angeles. Y'all have every job. Y'all have all the jobs. Y'all have jobs everywhere. The bank, the grocery store, customer service. Y'all have jobs everywhere. Insurance. Y'all have the jobs. Because y'all only hire y'all people. I remember being 18 years old. I was in college at CSUN. I wanted to get a job. I went to go get a job in the pavilions in Sherman Oaks. All Hispanic manager. He said, hey, I usually only hire my people. Mind you, this is 2011. hey, I usually only hire my own people, but I like you, so I'll hire you. They hired another Hispanic girl the same age as me, whatever. I don't think she was in college, but the same age as me. They moved her up to cashier so fast while I was still pushing carts in the bakery. Then I asked him why. He said, "Oh, because she got a baby. She got this, that, and the other. Whatever." I didn't really care because I knew that wasn't going to be my life anyway. I knew I was going to become a therapist, and I just didn't even give a fuck. But that's the thing. Another story. What is this? 2017 or something like that. Las Vegas. My brother worked at the bank. All Hispanics, right? They unlawfully fired him. The only black dude there, right? And my brother is not no fucking YN nigga. My brother is a stand-up guy, and he knows how to go to work. He had to hire a lawyer to fight them, won the law case, got his job back, and then quit on them, and then went to get another job because we petty like that. That is what I mean by racist practices. Come to LA. You know who's in the kitchen? The Hispanics, the Roscoe. You know who's in the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles? Hispanics. Okay? And then they try to lie and say, oh, it's because Hispanic. They try to say the majority of the population is Hispanic and that's why they have all the jobs, which is not fucking true. Because if it still doesn't, the statistics still don't equal out. Black people do not have no jobs out here. I think the only place black people work is like the airport. And the black people that do work with the Hispanics, you got to be damn near my color and fucking lighter or biracial. Like, this is not a game. That is what I mean by racist practices, okay? Please read a book and learn how to conceptualize. And even saying that doesn't make any sense because when you are privileged, you have a blind spot. You just can't see it. You can't see it. You cannot see it. So when you Hispanics try to come in my comments and defend yourselves, that's how I know that you're not smart up here. Y'all want to reconcile without taking accountability, and it doesn't work like that. And don't get in my comments talking about, well, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the collective. Stop trying to personalize a sociological issue. Okay? Relax. Y'all stay talking shit. Y'all know y'all do. Don't come up in here playing that hoopla shit. I'm a real LA bitch. And let me make this clear. I do not believe in ICE and all that shit. I don't fuck with this government. I don't believe in none of that. I'm an Aquarius.
You know what? I'm done with her. I'm done. You don't believe in the solution. That's why we don't listen to you bitches no more. Anyway, Bandit, Freeman's Journal. Help me out here, man. What the
I'm
hell?
an Aquarius. Give me a freaking break. Oh my God. Have you heard enough? I just wanted to say what's wrong with in-group preference, because I've heard my whole entire life black businesses only hire black people. What's wrong with that? Like,
ain't that ironic?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they promote in-group preference all the time.
Yeah.
You got to do for us and our business, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well.
Until other people want to express some in-group preference against your
Right.
group, and all
And
of
now
a
it's
sudden, oh, wait, hold on.
But
It
then-
sounds you just like the white man.
But here's the thing, they never put two and two together, right? Their in-group preference was built on being the special pet of white leftists.
Yeah.
It wasn't built on creating families, right? Getting married, having children, right? Having households. It was
that's
built
by
on
design, though.
welfare.
It's by design. They weren't designed to create families because they wanted them to keep them as a minority group.
Their black culture is Marxist, right? It was reformatted via the civil rights movement, and it's just Marxist BS. But they can't put two and two together, right? They don't have the capability. All they can do is complain about their new oppressor, and trust me, Latinos will be their new oppressor.
When you say that, Freeman, I think you're like describing the fish water problem. like when you say black culture is so Marxist, like the fish can't tell that it's in water, you know, and black people can't tell that they're in a Marxist culture at this point. You really need you have to be a couple of places removed from it to really look at it properly, I think.
I said it by
Yeah, I
summer.
agree with
It's going to be they're going to be the new Hispanics are going to be the new white people by summer.
I think they almost already are.
Bro, I've been saying this. You can see it. You can see this 10 years ago, right?
I'm saying
And-
mainstream because they
Oh,
need
mainstream.
they need a
I
new
agree.
group to hate by summer. We need another summer. Of
Well,
love.
as black folk become a shrinking minority, like we're not going to be the number one, or I'm sorry, we're not going to be the number one. Yeah, that's right, the number one minority anymore. And as Latinos increase and then vote share, at some point, it is logical they'll be the number two. Well, number one majority. There'll be a majority of the minorities, but the minorities will be the majority of the vote, and the Spanish people will be the biggest block in that.
Yeah.
So they'll be the de facto white people at some point.
But
It's
you know,
amazing,
like
right? It's
I
like
said,
Brazil.
God, what was that point I had earlier in the chat? It was, oh yeah, they're experiencing the casual racism, right, that they've had for Asians for decades. You know, and it's just like, oh well.
Yeah, elaborate on that. I saw you typed that a few minutes ago. What do you mean about the casual
Well-
racism that black people have shown Asians?
Like just racism toward Asians, like just in general.
What you
right?
say about my mama? That whole scene.
Right. What you say about my mama? You know, this antagonistic relationship. Man, I was on Bernard's one time, and I said something about Asian test scores, and OGJ Speed just went on this tangent about, yeah, I see him in the park doing their Tai Chi. I started dying. And he said it with such venom, bro. And I was like, okay. You know, and people will act like, no, man, we're not racist towards Asians. That's crazy. Like,
You know-
man, what are you talking about?
I realize there are huge cultural gaps between like West Coast and East Coast black people. And I'm wondering if that close proximity to like the California cartel, I mean, not California, but the Mexican cartels and the constant onslaught of immigration. I wonder if black folk are just, you know, we're very, very tribal and a little racist onto our own right. But I wonder if some of that hostility against Asians is really displaced hostility against the Latino community that they don't have a place to put, because you can't really vocalize a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, that could be. I could see that.
Because like when you think about like the jail culture, the Asians aren't the reason why black gangs are getting pressed in jail, right? And when it comes to the streets, I don't think it works the same on the streets. There are not a lot of Asian gangs pressing black folk on the street, but old Asian people are really easy soft targets.
Yeah, that's another thing. Soft targets too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm from the Philly area, and that's a really big thing with the roaming groups of teenagers beating up like Asian and white people. It happens all the time in Philly, all the time.
Yeah,
And-
that's a different show. I want a show about teen takeovers again. They're kind of blowing up in the
Yeah.
news, but yeah.
Well, the weather's
Bro,
getting
that-
nicer, so you know how that goes.
It's so sad, bro. I mean that the teen takeovers are basically that's how you identify the mudsill.
I think the teen takeovers are kind of like a bastard child of the George Floyd protest.
Well, no, I say that because you know one, Gen Alpha is dumb, right? They are literally dumber than the generations before them. And any type of societal trend like that is going to be extraordinarily more acute among black people. Like you're talking about these 16-year-olds who were raised on tablets and phones, right? They couldn't even spell their name until they were 8 years old. You know what I mean?
Well, it's even
Like-
worse than have you seen the younger kids, like how they just the videos? Oh my god,
They're retarded.
It's
They're
not just even it's
functionally
retarded. It's
retarded.
designed. It's like literally the bug zapper to thought, because
It is. They don't have the white
it's like
matter.
strobe lights and everything. It's
Bro,
babble nonsense. It's terrible.
I mean, yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. Black Socrates, you haven't said anything yet. Let me get you in this conversation before we move on too far. Last thing I heard was bug zapper, and my brain stopped a little bit after that.
Nah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How's everyone doing? I just think that this is a nothing burger in a sense. I mean, if you understand anything about politics, you can see the trend, and the balkanization of America is probably something I've been talked about since probably the 80s, and now it's come to fruition. So it's like, duh. Oh, you mean a group of people who have a different culture, different value system, and ties to themselves are somehow going to put that to the back burner, put that to the wayside to champion abstract causes? I'm sorry, but I don't.
No, we are the
Yeah.
world, Black Socrates. We are the children. They told us that we would all be in rainbow gay utopia together, and the white man wouldn't stop us.
Yeah, but there's something called revealed preferences and stated preferences, right? So the stated preference for a lot of white liberals is to have this kumbaya multiculturalism. But if you go to a lot of white liberals, upper class neighborhoods, they're the most monochromatic white neighborhoods ever. So
More diverse
multicultural,
than red counties. I mean, more monoculture than a red county.
exactly, 100%. So that's why I find it fascinating that if you go to like Yale or UPenn and go to professors' neighborhoods, the professors' neighborhoods are always extremely white, and they do have a minority. It's a token minority, like some person who has the same exact politics as them and believes exactly what they do. So
usually an
Well,
Asian.
yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a token. They are, like you said, it's a monoculture. They are exactly the same. They have all the same mores. They just have a different ethnicity.
Right, and
Correct.
liberal diversity in that context is really the most superficial diversity. Like, what does it matter if we're all from different parts of the world if we're all exactly the same kind of gay?
correct. And so the fact that California is experiencing this purge or this, situation, it's inevitable. Like, what else would happen? You expect a whole bunch of migrants from South America to come in and join forces with you. Why? Oh, because we're all non-white. Come on, that's ridiculous.
That really was the selling point. That's why I was kind of teasing you with "We Are the World" or whatever, because that was literally how it was sold. And I'm speaking to like Black people in particular, but this is a broad speaking liberal kind of Mott and Bailey that's been pulled on a whole country, like where we were all sold that everybody of the world is exactly alike. Remember, all cultures are equally the same and all that stupid shit. And now we're finding out that no, some cultures are vastly different from others to the point of incompatibility. They're so incompatible to the point of just hard choices, right? You can't have both. You can't have an open, socially progressive, Christian morality-based culture and nonstop Islamic immigration. You can't have these two things.
My thing is that
Plurality is a lie, right? Plurality is a lie. If you do not protect your culture and enforce your culture, someone else will enforce theirs. Period.
well, the another thing is that I often question when people say these things, when these social engineers or activists or policymakers say these things. Do people ever question what's their incentive? Like this is something about the left that I just simply don't understand. The left says things, and people who adopt these ideas, they don't ever seem to think to themselves, why are they pushing these ideas? How does it benefit them? As if the most altruistic and self-sacrificing people are just people on the left or the government. Like they don't have no interests, they have no incentives, they have nothing that they want to do to gain. They just all Mother Teresa and they're saints and just want to help people. Like, come on. And if you look at the evidence, you go to major cities that are leftist, like New York City, Atlanta, LA, and you actually see the results. You see the most, like, this is one thing I argue with my brother. My brother, we both from New York City. So we had an argument one time. He said, oh, I love the multiculturalism in New York City. And I told him, I said, word, New York City is one of the most segregated places in America. I repeat, New York City is one of the most segregated places in the entire country. How does that make sense? Oh, absolutely. Like, that's what blows my mind. Segregation to them is when you have little Haiti, you have little Jamaica, you have little China, and it's also very much punctuated by class and income, where the rich people stay in rich conclaves, like in Carroll Gardens, the Upper East Side, and the poor can, have their little diversity, whatever you want to call it, but stay away from me. And if your kids even come to my school and you force them to do it through forced sharing, we're gonna shut down the school and move.
You know,
Bro, I thought like I call New York balkanized because I don't even call it segregated, right? That is not strong enough a word because like New Yorkers are like, yeah, man, I lived in a Dominican building and I dated a girl who lived in a Puerto Rican building. I'm like, damn, like you can't even be Latinos together. You got to have a different building just because you a slightly different Latino.
It's not just that, bro. That's how they trick you. So they'll say, "Oh, we have sex together." I'm like, "Yeah," and that's how they get you. They say, "Oh, it's acceptance because they sleep together." I said, "Yeah, the Hasidic Jews in Sheepshead Midwood sleep with a lot of ethnicities. Do they marry them and share their wealth? Absolutely not.
Right.
You go to Little China, and you can probably find yourself a Chinese girl who has sex with you. Is she about to marry you? Absolutely not. You can go to a little
even then,
yeah.
That is negligible in the grand scheme of things. This is why, like, I think people who really obsess over interracial dating are just kind of blowing smoke because in the grand scheme of things, those numbers are negligible. The problems to your racial core comes from actual immigration and government policies that suppress your people over another people. But the interracial dating thing, look, there's always going to be one girl who wants some other guy. But for the most part, people stay home. And that's just not going to shake, because you put some movie on TV or whatever.
Yeah, but also not that. It's the fact that Amy Wax and some other, I forgot the guy, Robert Hernandez, talked about this, about how the upper class have one culture, but they promote another culture. Like they speak the 60s but live the 50s. They speak left but live right. So they'll tell you, oh, culture is not important, tradition is not important, conservative is not important, rules not important, standards not important. Oh, really? What about you? Oh, for us, absolutely important. We still have debutante balls. We still have cotillions and country clubs. And you got to have, if you want to join our country club, you have to have a resume. You have to have this affiliation, that affiliation, this affiliation. And when we go to Ivy Leagues, so I said, wait, hold on. You guys are the most elitist, traditional people on the planet. And yet they tell, that's what blows my mind. You see a Hillary Clinton and you see a Trump. They're both Ivy Leaguers. You see Obama, Ivy Leaguer. You see all these people are part of the same class and the same associations. They're part of the same, yeah.
If I could make a real solid criticism of upper class Black elite, it would be something along the lines of you refuse to impose your class structure on the Black classes below you, even though you are the most people primed to do such a thing. Whereas as a culture, this is what is needed. Every culture has
hold on. I know what you're saying.
Imposing structure and morality from the higher class, right? Like, and the Black
absolutely.
upper class refuse to impose that on the lower. They will pantomime Blackness and promote all these ghetto Black images. Meanwhile, like you said, they're Jack and Jill. They're Castilians. They have all the formal Western civilization, high culture elements among themselves, even as Black people, yet they refuse to actually impose anything like that on the classes below them. They would rather those classes stay in the ghetto.
Actually, that's not true. So what happened is that
Hold on.
I'm wrong.
Let me say something real quick. So what you're saying, Hood, is that the Black upper class, it's a managerial class, right? It's a managerial class that needs poor Blacks.
Not a true noblesse oblige.
Correct. I mean, if you look at, like, say, Baltimore, right? You got people in government making, $100,000, $200,000 a year, right? They had a gang intervention chick who was probably funneling money to some gangbanger screwing them because she was making $200,000. And as soon as they started looking for the money, she resigned, right? So the managerial class are who the air quotes Black elites are, but they're just average people, right? The actual Black elites or above average people who can go out into society in the public sector and achieve greatly, right? Those are the people that you would need to enforce a class structure, but they just don't want to be bothered, right? Those people are like, they're living in interracial neighborhoods and they don't care, right?
Black Socrates, you were about to tell me how I was wrong.
Yeah. That's a long held. Your perspective is something that you would assume, given the results of what happened. You would assume that the boule or the upper class of Black people, they don't have the noble oblige. They don't care about the lower classes. That's not true, though. That is true now. That's not what happened. So what happened was that there was always, ever since the creation of America, free black people. So free black people populated the Northeast, and they were very instrumental in helping the civil rights, or not civil rights, the abolitionist movement, starting the Freemasons, all that stuff. The first doctors, first black doctors, first black surgeons, etc. They used to work in the hotels, doing quite well for themselves. And then slavery was abolished. There was a quote unquote great migration of Southern blacks into the North and to the West. And then the tensions started happening. So the tensions that are happening, you can see it punctuated by W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. These are two elite upper class individuals who had two different perspectives on the future of Black America. One said that we should join socialism, Marxism, communism, along with poor white people, and have a Marxist revolution of some sorts. That was W.E.B. Du Bois. The other side, Booker T. Washington, was like, no, we shouldn't even fight for integration. We should take to ourselves, have our own situation, learn trades, and win respect through our own perseverance and our own accomplishments. Now, certain groups of communists, eventually after World War II, when they realized that communism was losing favor amongst white people, decided to go to black people and say, we're going to push communism on black people, gays, and women, because they're probably going to be easier farther to push socialism. Then they infiltrated the NAACP. They infiltrated the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was actually broken up into two parts. You have Robert T. Jackson, who was part of, again, the Booker T. Washington tradition. We don't want to integrate with white people. Leave white people alone. Do for yourself. Help have your own business. We have each other as black people. And then you had Martin Luther King and Libeskind, the Jewish communists who wrote all the speeches, who were promoting Marxist socialism. So what happened was that the Boule, or the black elite, who were of the Joseph H. Jackson variety, completely got drowned out by black activists, white activists, and then liberal socialists, to the point where if you are a black elite, let's say conservative, if you become a rich black person and you do well for yourself, I dare you to try to go to the black community and someone wants to do. They'll curse you out. They'll say you're a sellout. They'll say you want to be white. They will shut you down. So it's to the point where the black elites don't actually have a say in the black community. What can they tell them? Remember when Bill Cosby even attempted to tell them something about their culture? Now look at
I suppose that's an accurate thing, especially like if you move into the modern era. But I would argue, we mentioned like the civil rights era. I think it was lost somewhere in that point of time where the black elites kind of jumped on the civil rights train and adopted all the positives and the negatives. And it's like, I think we're kind of being overwhelmed by the negatives, which means that there is a promotion of the lower class image of black people. Like I was saying before about this victim morality, if the black elites actually let go of victim morality, in a lot of ways, I think that means they let go of their own economic standing. Because a lot of these, and maybe I'm using elite in an incorrect way. Freeman's Journal kind of threw the word managerial class out there. It fits maybe a lot better, but their economic and their social standing is threatened now. If you move away from this black victim morality framework.
But there are black engineers. There are like in Atlanta. There are black people in the banking. There are black people in all kinds of industries. Right? There's families that guys have been doing this for years. That own funeral homes, that own gas stations, and they're wealthy. If you talk to them, they'll let you know. They'll say, "Listen, if I attempt to say anything outside of the current cultural zeitgeist, I'll get attacked. Like you really can't say anything." And that's the thing. Is like, why won't they talk? It's like the thing you're talking to your own family. I can't even talk to my own family members.
Right. I can't save my cousins either. You know.
Exactly. I can't even save my own family members. And I have other friends the same way. This family member will come to them to ask them for money. But if you try to give advice, they shut it. They say, "No, if you got ideas to yourself, just give us your money." And that's how
I guess I will accept that pushback in that sense. But it does seem like a failure at some point. But you're right. At this point in time, currently, nobody can tell black folk.
Well. The biggest failure. You know who Joseph H. Jackson is, the leader of the Southern Baptist Conference.
That was like King's nemesis, I think.
Correct. So King created his own Progressive Baptist Conference. You know about this, right?
Okay.
Do you know about this?
Yeah, that's who Warnock is leading right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the Progressive Baptist Conference was something that Dr. King created from scratch that didn't exist prior, that had no legitimacy, in order to rival the Southern Baptist Conference, which had legitimacy, which was more popular, had more members, more churches, more everything. So now the question is, how did this upstart king was able to overtake the established historical institutions, and how popular was he? This is nothing about history. People assume that Martin Luther King was very popular amongst black people. He wasn't. He was not. He was considered a rebel rouser. He was considered what BLM is considered today.
Even
This
that
is-
era, well,
yeah.
even that era in time that you're mentioning, and this is where I'm kind of trying to like thread the needle and give your argument a lot more credibility than I had at first. But I think that that era in time marked like the subversion of any black, quote, nobility. Even that's such an overblown
Mhm.
word for the modern times. Like, but that's
Well,
kind of the idea I'm playing on.
Well,
But yeah, Freeman's
black
Journal, yeah, you
culture,
got it.
black culture functioned very much in a Victorian way prior to the civil rights era.
You see why I
Right.
keep saying these things about nobility and noblesse oblige. These are very like
Yeah.
Victorian ideas.
Yeah, the upper class basically imposed their will on everyone else. So everybody it's dignity culture, right? That's what American culture is, dignity culture, right? And the opposite of that is shame, right? And humiliation.
Or
So
victim morality, as I've been talking about it
well,
lately.
what it was is, how do you get black people coming out of dignity culture? How do you erode that, right? You have to take the shame away from welfare. So now,
But it's not just that. It's also
I graduated in 92. Hold on, let me finish. I graduated in 92, right? I was in probably middle school age. I heard a chick who was an upperclassman saying, I can't wait to have my baby so I can get an apartment, right? That is
92, you say?
92.
Yeah.
Right? 92. So there is no shame. Their dignity culture just doesn't exist in any way. And if you have that within yourself as a black person, you simply don't jive with most other black people, man.
Yeah,
You just
Miss
don't.
Cantrell. It is similar to respectability politics. These are, we're synonymous concepts. Let's put it
Well,
like that.
yeah,
I
and
think
that's that's what I was gonna say real quick. I was gonna say that it's not happening in a vacuum, right? Black people don't exist in America by themselves. They exist in a country that's dominated by many institutions that are much more powerful, much more resource. One of the biggest of them is the DNC. And now the DNC has an interest in keeping black community the way it is. So what happens? Let's say if you're a black director and you're very talented and you want to make a black movie that shows black people in a positive light. Good luck getting money for it. Good luck getting financing for it. Good luck getting distribution for it. Good luck getting television rights for it. Good luck getting any of that. Why? Because as soon as you go to Hollywood and say, yeah, I have a black vision to promote black people in a good light, they say, nah, good, no. Is someone gay? Nah. Is a black guy on crack? Nah. Is he pathetic? Nah. Then we're not giving you money for it. Is it any a coincidence that Sinners had to have a racial angle for it to get an Oscar? Right? Is there any?
There's so much I've been looking at about Sinners.
My-
I'm glad I didn't watch it initially, but there's so much about it just on the subtext and like
Bro.
the symbolism of it. I totally understand why black people love it, and I understand why everybody who's like an actual a fan of the arts hates it. Because as movies go, it's very like basic concepts and ideas. It's really a black revenge form. Black revenge
100%.
type of movie.
But that's the whole point. The whole idea is that black people need to live in a world where their whole existence revolves around reacting to white people. It's just like, what? How about I just live? Yeah.
Give me one more second. I want to fold
Sure.
ADS into this conversation before we lose a step here. ADS, what's going on, bro? I know you wanted to add something to this black talk. You got it, bro.
What up, Hood Servitor? Freedom.
What up, bro?
Yo.
Black Socrates, what's going on?
How you doing? How you doing?
Good. I'm glad y'all finally starting to see what I've been seeing 5-10 years ago. Y'all finally start taking notice that. You know what I'm saying? You know what that I can't stand is a bunch of friendly niggas. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like black people anyway like that. And I damn for sure don't like just about anybody else either like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a group, right? But I always notice these extra friendly niggas in the South. You know what I'm saying? Extra friendly to everybody else but us. You know, it's man, to me, it was so obvious from the jump when I first came down here that black folks still kind of live and act like slaves down here, man. They really do.
When you say
You
that,
know,
elaborate a little bit. Help us to see what you see.
let me help you out here. Before I came down here to the South, because I'm from Kentucky originally, Louisville, Kentucky, Midwest, Chicago, Illinois, all that stuff. And when I was growing up, it was always about kind of like rich people and then poor people, right? Poor people hung with poor people, may they be white, black, Puerto Rican, Latin, or whatever the hell, right? If you're a poor person, you hang with poor people. If you got money, you hang with the rich people. That means no saying that's across the board too. Racism wasn't nearly as prevalent, right? It's more about the money that your family had when I was growing up. When I came down here to the South, I noticed segregation and tribalism on an all-time high. I was like,
For real.
what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Is this like something out of the 50s down here, right? The way they kind of think and see things. I mean, it's up to date when it comes to the music, you know what I'm saying? But the culture down here is real, you know what I'm saying? Real civil, how you say it? Real civil war like, right? I
Correct.
mean, but you got, you know, so you got to understand though. You got to understand though that all these folks down here are the descendants of those folks, right? So black folks, yeah, they know we the descendants of slaves, right? But the white folks, they the descendants of slave owners and you know what I'm saying, people of that nature, right? Who actually had kids down here too, so it's passed along. Now, what I was kind of off put was when I first moved, you know what I'm saying, over here to the north side, is that the other cultures of people are like that too in a lot of ways. You know, I grew up around a lot of white, black, right, Asian people where I'm from. Kentucky, a lot of Asian folk in Kentucky, man. For some odd reason, they tend to be there. And they all seem very down to earth, very cordial, very cool, right? When I moved down here, I noticed that they were a lot more to themselves. You know what I'm saying? You go into the stores, you buy stuff, they kind of treat you a little different, right? So a lot different. You know what I'm saying? Very, 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 how do you say, defensive when you walk in. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been talking about you right before you walk in,
Well,
right?
ADS, you know, this has kind of been the whole theme of today's show, where like black folk have been told this kind of story that racism is the white man's playground, especially like, you know, anti-blackness is really probably a better descriptor of what we're describing right now. But we've been told that it was the white man who doesn't really appreciate black people and doesn't care for black people. And then we bring all these other people into the country like Asians, and we find out the white man is actually fairly tolerable compared to how you other niggas feel.
I mean, I've traveled overseas. I told you guys I did 11 years in the Navy, right?
Uh-huh.
I've been overseas. I've been over there to Rico, Spain. I've been to Africa, Djibouti, Africa. I've been to Haifa, Israel. I've been to Malta, Ishmael, man. I've been to Barcelona, Spain, brother. I've been to Halifax, Canada. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Italy. I've been to a lot of different places, right? And you ain't seen real racism until you go over there next door to South America. You ain't seen real racism, bro.
Right next door, huh?
Yeah, I mean, right next door to you, these people is, right? And, you know, every once in a while, you got to throw it up, right? And say, hey, did you get conquered by 300 Spanish soldiers? It took 90% of black people were captured by other Africans, right? On the Atlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? 90%, right? It took 300 people to conquer you. And that's why y'all so light, because y'all got that good Spanish blood in y'all, now that good European Spanish blood, right? Because of sex tourism. So you come over here, treat me like I'm second class, and you from a third world, man, come on, nigga.
Look like you wanted to.
Wait. It's not just that.
Some of you niggas look like you enjoyed being conquered.
No, it's the reason why South America didn't progress as quickly as North America is because they were conquered by the Spanish and the Portuguese, which had an entirely different culture than British and WASP. WASP believe in the Protestant ethic. They're more mercantile based. So even if they're racist, if you can make money, you can make money. Let's make some money. Whereas in Spain and Portugal, they don't care about money. They will willingly lose money and progress just to maintain the status quo. It's also with the Catholic Church. Catholic Church, a lot of hierarchy and status. That's what they care about more.
There's as much as like I don't like set out to criticize Catholicism as a thing, but I realize the Catholic Church is an institution unto itself with its own, like, you know, politics and hierarchy. And
yeah, they believe in hierarchy. That's one of my greatest criticisms of Catholicism. And the reason
I'm
why
Catholic myself. I'm Roman Catholic myself. I do mass, all that good jazz. Practicing Roman Catholic. One thing about people don't talk about is St. Thomas Aquinas actually said slaves had souls. So They were
Right.
no longer slaves, right? This is back in 1619, but somehow way or another, back in 16, what is it, something or another, shortly after that, Martin Luther broke off and created the Protestant church. They said it wasn't because of that, of course, but it seems kind of like it's connected, right?
Maybe. I
Okay,
mean, Martin Luther
possibly.
was woke about with small hats too, so it's hard to tell exactly what all the threads really are. But I
Well,
will say this about Catholics. I think as far as like Christianity is concerned, every saint is Catholic, right? Because that's who does saints. You know, saints are
Yeah,
Catholic.
you got to be sainthood, man. You got to go through what is that? I think it's almost 3 to 6 weeks of you just not rotting away.
It's like
yeah,
catechism.
I
Yeah,
understand.
just little
Yeah,
things that you do with like physical things. But I'm just saying, like the Catholic Church is the reason why we have things like saints. And beyond
absolutely.
that, a lot of the writings of church fathers are basically when there was only a Catholic Church.
Sure. And I'm not saying that the Catholic Church, they do have a point. Both have, I think the Protestant and the Catholics both have a point. Catholic point is that there's something called apostolic succession. You have a tradition that was passed down. What's the point of naming something if it doesn't have an antecedent or etymology to reference to? That makes perfect sense because again, what makes something what it is? Like, what's a Christian if we can appeal to a historical tradition of Christianity?
Right.
Then it can be anything. Now the
Well, and
Protestant
this is
also,
what bugs me about the black church, because for all the shit that Catholics get for, you know, all the bad press Catholicism has gotten since the 90s with the priest and all that stuff, the black church is not that much better. It's probably actually
I
miles and
agree.
miles worse if you really want to get into it.
That's my criticism with the Protestants. My criticism with the Protestants is that the argument is the Protestants turn the Bible into a mirror, meaning that there is no tradition, there is no standards, there is no authority. Whatever you want to see in the Bible, you see it. So basically, whatever you are is reflected back to you, and you can make up anything you want. So Christianity is whatever you want it to be. And I'm not gonna lie, based on how the 5 mainline churches are moving, they got a point. They do have
I
a
mean,
point.
you know, and this is why, like, as somebody who kind of just explores like faith and the concepts and the ideas that undergird it, I kind of like lean between like the Catholic and the Orthodox, because it seems like, you know, niggas gonna went off the rails somewhere after the Catholic and the Orthodox. You know, and I don't even pretend to know the real differences between Catholicism and Christian Orthodox Church. Like that's like an Eastern Christian faith, but
What
Protestant
happened was,
and
Hood,
all that in America, y'all seem to went crazy a little bit.
what happened, Hood, is what you start out with the Lutheran Church, right? That is the closest thing to Catholicism you're gonna get on the Protestant side is the Lutheran Church.
Mhm.
And what happened is that people had disagreements with the Lutheran Church, so they start splitting that off, and people start splitting off a little more. Then you get the Mormons, you get other people coming in, and so now you got 50,000 different Protestant faiths.
Correct.
It sounds like the copy machine problem. You ever heard of the Xerox problem, where you keep making copy
Yeah.
of a copy of a copy of a copy, and
Correct.
eventually it's one giant incorrection or whatever?
Facts.
But yeah,
Well,
I vacillate
I-
between like Catholicism and Orthodoxy in
Yeah,
terms
so-
of like
so-
what I really appreciate about faith.
So the thing with me is that I'm a very pragmatic person. I like to simplify things. And so I lean towards Protestantism, not necessarily for any doctrinal reasons per se, but because the founders were WASP. That's basically it. My theory is that a certain people can only create a certain society. So Catholics will create a Catholic society, Protestants will create a Protestant society, or a WASP society will create a WASP society. And I believe that America is the way it is because it was founded by WASP. And I'm very much interested in maintaining that tradition because I think it's to the benefit of anyone who likes the way this country is.
Well, Western culture
Correct.
is Protestant for the most part, anyway. So, like,
Not
especially
necessarily.
the America part of it, like, look,
Yeah,
the
it depends what
church.
it depends what you mean by Western culture. So if you talk about Italy, like for instance, right? Like there are certain things about Italian dominated societies that you'll see that's consistency with it. Like if you look at WASP countries, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, Germany, they have certain tendencies. Like one tendency that I'll say that I think is very important for Americans to know this, because Americans need to realize that the Constitution didn't just come out of thin air. It comes from a culture and tradition. It's from a certain way of thinking. And it can only work if
I
that
think most likely. I don't even think it comes from Catholicism, because Catholicism is way too hierarchical. It's basically like a
Correct.
monarchy of faith. But this is why I said Western culture is basically Protestant, because it's spearheaded by the English, and the English are what? They're Protestant for the most part.
Or they used to be. I don't know what they are now, but they
Church
used
of
to be.
England, they were basically the OGs of Protestantism.
I hear you, but I'm saying that, listen, a tradition can only be a tradition if it's maintained, right? Traditions change. I'm
Right.
saying that in order for us to understand, like, this is the problem in America. So look at the Constitution. Like, this is my issue with Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy, he thinks, and a lot of globalists and universalists, they think the Constitution is logical. Like, anyone, if they think hard enough, will come to the conclusion that's in the Constitution. I don't believe that. I believe the Constitution is unique to the people of that time and period and how they thought. And I believe that they created a certain standard that's hard to replicate, and we should maintain it by adopting the way they thought as much as possible. And that's my position. That's why I consider myself a WASP. Even though I'm black, I consider myself WASP because that's what I think. I understand their thought process. I read all the material. Go ahead.
I think WASP is a little bit, maybe a misnomer of a title for you and I, because I think maybe in the same vein, I consider myself a child of the West, right? Which is not saying I'm a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which I was wondering my whole life what WASP actually meant, and I figured it out. I thought it meant white American Southern people, but no, I realized now it's actually it's a moniker for Western culture, effectively. So, like, in a lot of ways, we're all WASP, but really, I think we're just children of the West. Children of the West.
I say yes and no because even in the West, there's a bifurcation. So I've seen the bifurcation, right? So the reason why I say I'm WASP is there's certain things that I believe intuitively that I understand that I believe it or feel that way because I've been influenced by the WASP mindset. I'll give you a prime example.
Right.
Let's say in Halloween when they put candy outside, right? I, because I'm influenced by WASP, would assume that of course someone's going to take only one candy or probably only a few. They wouldn't abuse this because that would go against the rule of consciousness, their own self-governance. Because WASP fundamentally believe what's called self-governance. If you have a conscience, your conscience is basically your connection to God, and that's what governs you. That's why you don't need a big government because we have ourselves, and our conscience can rule us. That's why self-governance is the thing. Now, I know there's other cultures that would look at that and say, "You're stupid. Why would you give me an opportunity to take advantage? I'll take advantage." To people who are influenced by WASP tradition, that would be inconceivable. Now, I won't think that's one of the detriments of WASP. They're very gullible people. They're easily tricked.
Society.
Yeah.
And
But
ultimately,
they're easily tricked. That's why Tiny hats. That's why Tiny hats would laps around them because they easily
Well, I mean, that's a
yeah.
whole other thing, and that's like the fifth. That's like the third rail of most of these political conversations that I really can't.
No, it's true. One of my biggest criticism with WASP is that they're the kind of people they're almost autistic, like Germans. They're the joke about Germans. One guy was talking to a German and he was like, "When can you drive?" He said, "Oh, when we're 16." And he's like, "Really? And you can go, there's no speed limit." So yes, on the Autobahn, there's no speed limit. You go as fast as you want because you must go through training. And once you're trained, you can drive well, so they trust you. And he said, "Okay, but what if you want to drive?" So what do you mean? He said, I don't want to get my license. I just want to drive. You can't do that. And he's like, "Yeah, but what if I do it anyway?" He said, "No, you can't do that." And that's my issue with them. They have this thing with rules, right? Where if the rules are the rules.
Good as their enforcement, though, and that's kind of what happened with WASP culture, as you're describing it. It stopped enforcing the WASP rules, and so now
Because I know because they assumed everyone would logically come to the same conclusion as that. It's universal. Thomas Jefferson.
That is the
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you right now, Freeman. But let me say this: that is the weakness of a high trust society. You assume that other people are just as high trust as you because that's all you've ever known. But in reality, it's a rarity in the world, and it's a burden that you actually defend it against the savagery that is the majority of the rest of the world. But Freeman's Journal, you were trying to say something, sir.
Hey, to that point about high trust society, that is why even in a high trust society, not everyone should vote. Right? Not everyone should vote. And
Agreed.
It's not to what Black Socrates was saying, it's not an assumption. I think, okay, so all right, I don't mean this may derail a little bit, and I apologize, but
Yeah, be the last tangent for the night. We're gonna wrap it up after.
In the question of what should we learn or what are some of the takeaways from the last American epoch is some things you got to realize, like the right of center lost the culture war, right? They lost it. There's all this complaining about, Somalians and immigrants and all that. Bro, you lost. The Immigration Act of 1965 was an L, right? White Southerners lost when they let carpetbaggers move to Dothan, Alabama, and sue them for praying at football games. You lost, right? There's this thing, you have to own the L in order to learn from it and then start enforcing your culture. Otherwise, you're just going to sit here and keep complaining about random Browns when that it doesn't even matter, right? The calls coming from inside the house, right? The people who are tearing down Minnesota aren't the Browns. The Browns are just the hammer, right? The guy swinging the hammer is progressive ideology wielded by white people. So, you know, the WASP got to own their failure.
They do. That's why they retreat from society.
Idiot, if you trying to say something.
I mean, Freeman, you got to understand, this has just been the core DNA of this country, though. It's never changed to that extent, right?
Core DNA,
I mean,
say that again? What is?
It's been the core DNA of this country. It's never changed to that extent, right? I mean, back in the day with Abraham Lincoln, remember, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president, right? And they were the anti-inhibition party, right? For the most part, anti-slavery, anti-this, anti-that. Democrats were the ones who were actually slavery because most of their constituents were down in the South, right? That's where they made their money. It was always an economic issue with them. So, but even the whole time, you know, people thought Abe Lincoln's ride was smooth. It was miserable the whole way through. I mean, truly miserable life, man. He just happened to achieve some big things in the name of, you know what I'm saying, black people. But even him, he didn't want to really, you know what I'm saying, naturalize us. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to send us back to colonies in Africa and over there in Jamaica. You know, so it's always been this way. You know what I'm saying? From the jump till now, to me, you know, when people say that they're progressive
what are you talking about from the jump till now? You went from, I was talking about Randall.
I was trying to summarize
it.
I was trying to summarize it. So maybe I did a poor job of summarizing it, but you know, let me finish it out and then ask me what the hell I'm talking about, right? So with that being said, I mean, it's always been that way, though. I mean, even with the Indians, the blacks, you know what I'm saying? It's always been some level of demonization, right? Where, you know what I'm saying, people think it's us or them or one of us. It's really always been them, right? Even nowadays in your politics, in your everyday life. I mean, think about it, right? What's the difference between a progressive and a MAGA Republican? What's the difference between a progressive and a MAGA, right? What's the differences? Do you guys know?
Depends on the class.
You got to define MAGA.
Depends on their class.
Ideologies, they're still all the same people. Just different ideologies. So they don't really like you. They never really liked you. They don't want you over there. They don't want you taking their women. They don't want you taking their property. They don't want you in their way. But, you know, say if you have something of value that they want, they'll just take it. That's the way it's always been. And at the end of the day, I mean, you got to put some blame on some of the brown people, though, to be honest with you, because they came over here in lumps. You know, huge amounts taking advantage of legal loopholes in the American system, right? Like the Ethiopians, like they took advantage of the American system. There are huge loopholes in how we, you know, define citizenship here.
See, well, I mean, you're viewing that through the Western lens. View it through their eyes, and what else would they do? That is their natural state. Like you don't blame a shark for sharking. You don't blame a bird for flying.
But I do allow the person who allowed the shark into the pool.
Exactly. So we agree.
I think we found a great place to wrap up this conversation then. Because we were talking about, this whole night's really been about black people discovering non-white racism and this idea that it's really the other groups of people around the world that have it out for you, more so than you think white America does. But somehow we've opened up the floodgates for all these other people, and now we have to pay the price for our foolishness. So at some point, we gotta stop being foolish and short-sighted.
Not even that, Hood. Not even that, Hood. Our worst detractors are internal. brother.
That's
Our
a
women,
layered problem. That's another problem on top of what I was just talking about. You're
our
right.
worst detractors are eternal. Our women sold us out for trinkets for 4 years. I mean, literally sold us out, threw us under the bus, did everything they could to stand on our heads and get clout off of the black man.
Well, let me weave these threads together. I think it's a very feminine disposition to have trust and sympathy for the outsider, the way the Democrats have in the Democrat Party, and by extension, black folk who voting Democrat. We have way too much trust and belief in these outsiders because, you know, chicks always are wondering and curious about the stranger. Like, I'm not curious about that nigga as long as he don't touch my shit. I don't worry about him, you know. But that's a masculine perspective on other people versus how the Democrats are selling the idea of other people. So it is very much an issue of being sold out by women and then adopting feminization as just a posture, broadly speaking. But
not just women, our women, to be exact. Our women were leading the way with ideologies they didn't even understand because they thought it granted some level of power, and it really didn't. They were just placeholders until the next group came in, until they were ready enough and they could get them up to speed to vote. The progressive agenda has always been basically, you know what I'm saying, to gentrify, feminize, and globalize, because that's how they make their biggest margins, right? That's how they get their best growth out of those three prospects. So whenever you hear progressive trying to sell you something, what they're truly trying to sell you is your own demise, right? As a black man.
Yeah.
And they proved that for 4 years. They proved that hands down. For 4 years, you were demonized. I mean, literally demonized in the media, demonized on YouTube. Black women leading the way, reading the articles. You know, black women are writing these articles. You even had a black man come out and say that black women should date white men. Black men are no good.
I remember that. Marriages for white people and all that stuff. And I think a lot of what I've been covering with this particular show and then Kevin Samuels and the whole Winter is Coming thing, you know, black women are, you know, the chickens will come home to roost eventually. And Josh, I see you in the chat. You asking for the link. I'm actually trying to wrap this thing up. I'm trying to shut this whole conversation down at this
You're
point.
already here.
To be fair, you've been well represented tonight, Josh. We decided that you aren't exactly the boogeyman. It's the Mexicans. It's all of the Mexicans of South America. We're calling them all Mexicans just for shorthand tonight. And then it's the Africans, the Asians, everybody else. You're not the boogeyman tonight, Josh.
Look, I get a couple things off so I can get off my chest and move on with my life, because I just really feel like I want to say this. Black women were about every other group of men but black men. But they were trying to oppress us or basically hold us down. Other groups of men saw this, right? And they said there was no way they were going to go for this bullshit that progressives were selling. I think that was a huge selling point when it came to putting Trump back in office for a second term. You know what I'm saying? So whenever, you know, I mean, it does. The only group of women who come back with, you know what I'm saying? If I put it this way, I've dated Latin women before. I've dated white women before, right? Trying to date Asian women now, really trying to. You know what I'm saying? So I learned way long time ago that if you get one of them, you got to bring them over to your side and get them away from their people, because their people will persecute them. If I live in a predominantly not neighborhood, right? Whenever I see women out there carrying trash, I'll grab their trash can. Do you know those Latin dudes will pull up on me, literally in their cars? They'll drive right in between me and that woman.
Are you on the West Coast by any chance?
No. I'm down here in Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah.
Where in Atlanta?
North side, brother.
North. Okay.
The reason I stay on the north side, because the further you get into Lawrenceville, the more it becomes a class thing, right? When you get out by Sugarloaf and all those nice places, it becomes more about class at that point. That means the women will talk to you if you're a certain class, right? Mm-hmm. But if you live in like Atlanta, it's segregated.
These ATL Latinos was about it like that. Damn.
What do you think? They come over here with their culture. Most of these folks, man, around here, man, you know what I'm saying? Put it this way. I came through here when I first came to Atlanta, because I was thinking about getting a nice little house down here, right? When it was affordable, and I really should have when it was $40K for a house in Lawrenceville. I was out here looking around, and it was all black out here, man. All black out here.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
I keep saying black folk should have trusted them racist white men a long time ago when you had the chance. That was the only thing stopping the Latinos from overwhelming you, was the racist white man. But nope, you wasn't listening.
There's a spot in Austell, Georgia, like a commercial district, and all of it is owned by Asians, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The racist white man was against that too. You niggas just wouldn't listen, man.
When I say, I've never seen something like that before. When I said every single shop in that place is owned by Asians. There's an Asian grocery store, an Asian spa place, an Asian sushi place, an Asian Chinese store, an Asian everything, just everything. I was like,
you know what word I learned recently? Gastro diplomacy, where they just open up pad Thai restaurants and I love Thai people now. And now you have an entire Asian enclave because you motherfuckers love food so much. You love spices and noodles and shit so much.
Look up Asian district in Austell, Georgia. And I think that now there's an Asian in the city council. They're taking over, man. I see it. Bro. I see it.
Listen, we made this show about like the Latino community tonight, but really, you got the Muslims, the Asians, the Indians. There's a lot of
because of all the groups. All those Asians are the smartest.
ADS and Freeman. We'll wrap it up right there. ADS, please.
The Asians are the smartest of the groups that I've met. Really, I've dated a couple Asian girls. Like I said, I'm trying to date one now. They're pretty smart. They're really smart about how they do things. Right, Jimmy Carter. They took over Jimmy Carter, put the Hong Kong supermarket out there, plaza, and they start building stores around that, right? Which was really smart of them. And then started expanding on that. Austell, more of a recent thing, started up about 2010, 2011 when they went out and started buying property, right? And started expanding on that property out there. You know, they've been making some great financial moves in that community to really expand what they're trying to do. Versus black people still don't own anything. We still really don't. It's crazy, right? It's like you know what I'm saying. The reason why your neighborhoods are so easy to take over because you don't own anything. You own a few houses on the block. You know what I'm saying? They short sales, right? It means they get up out of them houses because of the violence or whatever's going on, and then from there people just buy that stuff and just gentrify it and just move anybody else in.
Let me kick it to Freeman's Journal. Take us home, Freeman. We're gonna shut it down on your note, man. What you got?
These Negras don't have families.
Damn.
Right? There is no grand plot by Asians to do this or that, or Mexicans or anybody else. They have families. It is all derivative of them having a community, and that is how a community operates. Period.
And you know what? In closing, I'm sorry, I want to stop you short right there.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You know, it's like, oh, why don't we own stores in our neighborhoods? Because you got no families. Like, god damn, like, nigga, 99.99% of black people's problems is they don't have families. And it's a bunch of singles pontificating on how to fix the family. And the black people that are married and are successful are like ghosts because they are tired of this. They are tired of it.
Freeman, I think that's the perfect note to end it on because, and I alluded to as much at some point earlier in the show when I said it's pretty much over for a while. You know, if there's any pullback that can happen, it's not going to happen tonight. All you can do right now is hold on to the territory you got and grow that, which means growing your families, your individual family that you live in, and the extended family network that you'll kind of create by extension. And those are the only ways forward because that's how the other groups are beating you. They have the government and they have these programs and policies that maybe help them get access to capital and all that. But none of that would work for them if they didn't have family members that they could trust, that they could pass the ball to. And I think that really is where Black America has been kind of losing. And it will continue to lose in the foreseeable future. Most of us don't seem to have solid family networks and other people in our blood ties that we can pass the ball to. But until we solve that problem, good luck with that. Exactly right. Until we solve that problem, good ideas.
I'm going to be an asshole about it. I hate to do it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because you have groups of people, grown adults who are underdeveloped. Your women have entitled princess syndrome. They're not marriageable material because they don't know how to be in a relationship. They've never been in a relationship. They've never seen a relationship since they were born. The only relationship they know is to their mama who wasn't even in the house, right? So you're dealing with a group of people who have lack of skills. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to growing those relationships. And good luck dating out, man. Because the minute they find out, you know what I'm saying, you black man, bro,
yeah, that's not a guaranteed win either, bro. That's harder than it might be.
The minute they find that out, like this brother in the middle was saying, bro, that whole family will run, you know what I'm saying, get her away from you.
He had to fight two El Salvadorians, bro.
The whole family will get away from you, bro. And you know, so you could be as serious as can be about getting married. You could love that girl, want to be with her. But they
Bruh.
families, man, will intervene and get her away from you because they believe that you know what I'm saying, your underdeveloped, your degeneracy, your inability to provide. And they make some valid points. You don't know how many niggas I see in Atlanta who do end up with
Right.
a white girl or an Asian girl or black girl, and they in their 30s living at home with their family.
Listen, that's a whole other trope. The black guy with the white girl, and he still ain't shit. Like, that's a whole other trope. I know.
Yeah,
And the thing is,
wow.
what you were just saying, bro, their family, and this is the power of family. They may be Mexican. I mean, not Mexican. They may be racist, right? They may be racist. It may be rude. It might be offensive, but they're not necessarily wrong. They might be wrong about you as an individual man, but they're not wrong.
But not as a collective.
That's their
Good
job
point.
as the family, is to do that.
Yeah, it's a filter, and they
It
should.
is.
I
It
wish.
is. It is what it is.
See, dang, I could talk about this. This other guy in the space. He's a commenter. But his wife, he married a Chinese woman who has a very traditional family, and he's got hella stories. But anyway,
They're not wrong. It might be racist. It might hurt your goddamn feelings, but they and their role are not wrong. The problem is your family networks and your family social structures have been weakened to the point where you don't recognize what you're dealing with. You're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind the racism as much. I came from the girl. I came from the girl, right? I come from the woman. I'm not here for them. I'm here for the woman because she wanted me to be here, right? So I'm willing to tolerate a certain amount of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I really am. You know what I'm saying? Very cool, very correct. As long as you just keep it words, you know what I'm saying? Keep it in your language. You know what I'm saying? Even though I can understand what you're saying, I'm not going to really care, right? Because I'm here for her. You know what I'm saying? If you insult her, that's something different. But if you insult me, I don't give a shit. You can say what you want to say about me, right?
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying? So,
Well, I think we're gonna Socrates, you want to jump in there because I'm trying to wrap it up real quick. You want to jump in there?
well, I was just gonna say that as messed up as it is, I can't blame them because
Right.
the truth is, you don't marry a person, you marry a family, or you marry into a situation, or into a system in a sense. And what system? If I marry a woman who's not black, what system am I marrying her into? And the truth is dysfunction.
And that's just a rough pill that you have to swallow as part of being black. This is, one of the, as black folk that kind of understand things or have made it to a certain level or have traveled enough in the world that you realize, again, you just understand things. It kind of puts you on the outside of the mainstream of Black America. A lot of folks just think, oh, you hate me because I'm black. Like, no, it's not quite that simple. But anyway, we've had enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to shut it down. I got to get out of here. I really don't.
yeah. By the way, the baddest group of chicks I ever met when I was traveling overseas was Spanish. Spanish women are absolutely insanely gorgeous. I mean, they are beautiful women, just all around gorgeous gals. And man, I wish, man, when I was in Barcelona, I would have kept this one chick I was chilling with, but I couldn't because I was in the military and I was moving around a lot, and I couldn't just take her back to America and leave her. So, but man, let me tell you what, those Spanish women are insanely beautiful women.
All right, stop reminiscing. I ain't invite you up here to reminisce about coochie, nigga. Anyway, I appreciate y'all coming out. Like, share, and subscribe. This has been Black People Discover Non-White Racism. Shout out to Lord ADS and his Spanish coochie memories. Sometimes niggas just can't forget. I got to wrap this one up, y'all. Y'all take care. Thank you for coming out. Like, share, and subscribe. We are done, y'all.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help Black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.